Are we? Yeah, there we go. There we go. It says we're live now. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for coming. Running a little bit late. Sorry. Had to do a late night diaper change and help the little guy to bed. Not in that necessarily in that order. It wasn't me changing my diaper this time, so we're good. So we're gonna start out. I'm hoping to get some more panelists on here. If there's anybody out there that wants a link and I didn't get you one, let me know. I'll shoot you one. I'd love to have a full panel tonight. It'd be really fun. I want to do a food and guns trivia game. What I'm planning to do is whoever wins it on the panel, let them C4. I did send Boomer a link. I did send him one. If it didn't go through, shoot him another one. That must be some big ass depends. It depends. Whoever wins it, I will let them choose the ingredient for my next video. Thought that would be kind of fun. So we'll do that a little bit later. Hopefully we'll have a panel by then. Ape said he will be here. He's running a little bit late. He had to do some stuff at work. So we're going to do that. I want to do a little devil's advocacy. A little devil's advocate, right? Talk about a couple things, and then CloverTac asked me for some advice for freezing foods. He said he's making some pot stickers at home, and he was actually maybe some actual food in your next video. Obnoxious says he's just scared of lettuce. I don't know what's wrong with that guy. Maybe if he ate more lettuce, he might have maybe he'd have a better attitude. I don't know.
Too much E. coli. Too much E. coli.
Yeah, probably something wrong with it. He wants to do some pot stickers and freeze them, and he's never done that. He asked for some advice, so I figured I'd talk about it on the show. But we're gonna do just sort of general freezing foods. Phoenix says fugu fish. That's puffer fish, right? Sure, we'll do puffer fish. Revolver says he can't wait to get home to his crab legs. That's pretty cool. What's up, Gun Snob? Let's go. Let's see who's out there now. I know we got a couple people. Phoenix, the Juice, Gizzard, C4's out there. Patriots out there. Psycho's out there. What's going on, Psycho? Obnoxious One's out there still, unfortunately. I thought he'd be leaving by now. I carry my revolver, the Gun Snob. That's it. Grim90, how you doing? Grim, I think I gave you a link too if you want in. Yeah, 12 so far. That's cool. No problem. So let's talk about freezing food a little bit. Do you guys do a whole lot of that? I know being hunter, some of you guys, I don't know if Tardot hunts. Travis, you hunt. Yeah. So inevitably as a hunter, you're, well, not always, I guess, but usually as a hunter, you're going to get into the situation where you need to freeze something. Is there anything, I'll say pros or cons? Is there anything you've ever done that was a really bad move, or is anything that you've done that was worked out great? As far as freezing stuff?
I would say definitely. I'm a big fan of just like the Ziploc freezer bags. I like those. I think they help out, and I've had meat last a year. If I'm going to throw something in the freezer in the deep freeze. Butcher paper, big fan of butcher paper. I don't know. I've never really messed it up because I would consume anything that I would bring in, within a certain time frame. So, I guess a little bit also has to do with how you maybe prepare it before you store it. That's also important too. I tend to wash off everything with like a salt water and then a fresh tank dunk after that, and then kind of pat dry stuff off and then wrap it up and freeze it. Also, with us, the deer hanging in the garage, it's cold. So the meat is pretty chilled by the time you start cutting at it the next morning. After you got the deer hanging up in the garage and it's dried and drained and you pull off the hide and stuff. So, you got to really watch out for bacteria and stuff like that. You want to be careful, make sure it's not hanging out at room temperature or outdoors. Just really be careful with it before you prep it and pack it, because you don't want to get sick from it as soon as you use it, the following spring or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I and this isn't like it's I should say this isn't anything I did a whole lot of research on. Obviously I didn't do any research on it. I just figured we'd talk about it a little bit. But yeah, there's a couple of cool tricks that I want to mention. But we'll let if anybody else wants to jump in with anything.
I know. I was just going to say, now I'm not a hunter, but I do fish occasionally. And if I've got quite a bit, I will freeze it. I like to use a vacuum sealer myself. Of course, it'll usually soak overnight in salt water and everything else. I'll dry it out as much as I can. But if you vacuum seal it, it tends to last a little bit longer in the freezer, I think. Get the air out of there. You don't have near the ice crystals and stuff like that.
Sure, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a lot of the same as doing the vacuum sealer, but a big part of it too is if you're in a warmer climate like Texas, we tend to have a lot of ice on hand. When we go hunting, we've got a chest full of ice. We go ahead and quarter it out there and make sure it sits on ice for a couple days before we actually process it. We get it nice and frozen, so keep it chilled. Yeah, that's a big part of it. But we don't, when we actually process meat from hunting, we don't usually use the vacuum sealer. We usually will use just plastic wrap. But we usually, once we get back to the house and it's sat on ice for long enough, we'll go through and actually process it ourselves pretty quick. Make some sausage or something and wrap it up.
Yeah, getting as much air out of anything that you're freezing is a huge part of it. Any air gaps are going to cause crystallization. Gizzard said that. And with just to start off with Clover, I mean, because that's the main part of this, is he wanted a couple of pointers. He's talking about doing dumplings, or pot stickers. Dumplings, same thing. One of the things, and I do it at the restaurant. I freeze mine. We do them with some of them. I freeze. I don't freeze all of them, but some of the ones that we use quite a few of, I do freeze because I can stock up a little bit. And one of the issues that you have with something like that, and it would be any kind of stuffed dough. If you would do ravioli, this is an issue. Homemade ravioli, pierogi, dumplings, pot stickers, that kind of thing. Even if you do Samoas are a stuffed dough too. If your dough is like we use a chicken filling, if we would do a pureed chicken for a chicken dumpling, or if you would do a meat filling for like a beef pot sticker or a ravioli, those things that have the high moisture contents and are dense at the same time tend to expand. Water expands, right? When you freeze it. If you've ever thrown anything in the freezer that's got a lid on it, you know pretty quick that it can get ugly if it's like a glass bottle, right? It wants to pop all over the damn place. So the same thing happens in the cells of the food that you're freezing. Everything's made up of cells. Inside the cells are liquid. So as that liquid expands, it breaks the cell walls. Cell walls are broken. When you thaw it out, all that moisture comes out. And that's why when you freeze something and thaw it, you get a lot of what's called purge. You get a lot of water, moisture that comes out of them. If you ever freeze, certain fish freezes really, really well, and certain fish doesn't freeze well. Texturally, salmon freezes great. Chilean sea bass freezes great. Tuna, if you freeze tuna, you get a really nice, meaty, dense piece of tuna and freeze it. Let's say you vacuum seal it, freeze it, pull it out. Once it's thawed, you just notice in a packet, and call it cryovac. It's an industry term. On the vacuum, the seal, you'll have a lot of water. When you feel that raw tuna now, it's going to have almost a spongy texture to it. It's not all that awesome. And if you go to a grocery store, if you can usually tell if a tuna is frozen or not, previously frozen, because by the texture, you can even look at it and it almost looks like satiny, like a satiny kind of finish. So the filling does the same thing. Filling's going to expand, right? So if you're using a wrapper that's really delicate, like a wonton skin or something really thin, that is not going to have as much give. It's not going to be as durable. When your filling expands, it cracks. Same thing with a ravioli. If you do a really, really thin ravioli, your filling expands and that pasta will crack. Then you go to drop them into water, they open up, and you got shit all over the place, and it's a nightmare, right? And then you're ordering a pizza because all your raviolis exploded in the water, and you just want to get drunk and eat pizza. If you do a thicker wrapper, like a dumpling wrapper, or if you make your pasta a little bit thicker, they're a little bit more durable. They can withstand that pressure. They don't crack. So that's one of the things that if you're doing something like that, you kind of want to look into. If you like to do a really thin, delicate pasta and make homemade ravioli, they're probably not going to freeze for you. They're going to expand and explode, unless your filling is a little bit drier. Maybe it's a cheese filling that has a cheese that isn't like a mozzarella that might not expand. But a cheese filling like a ricotta that's very wet, dense would still expand and probably do the same thing. So that's where the dumpling aspect of it comes in. And Clover was talking about doing like an American pot sticker, which sounded really cool. And I've done stuff sort of like this too. I've done like cheesesteak pot stickers where it's got beef, caramelized onion, roasted mushroom inside, and a little bit of cheddar cheese. And I'd serve it with like a tomato sauce. And we do it as a pot sticker. And when you eat it, it tastes almost like a cheesesteak. It's really cool. He's talking about doing one with like potatoes and beef in it, like a seasoned beef. It would almost be like a pot sticker, which would be kind of cool. But that kind of filling isn't going to be super, super dense. There's going to be some air pockets in there probably. I don't think he's going to have a hard time freezing those. I think they'll freeze great. But that's just kind of an odd little question that I had today that I thought would be a fun topic. Other things you can do too, when you go to the store and you buy shrimp, frozen shrimp, frozen scallops, stuff like that. It's IQF a lot of times, which is individually quick frozen. It's a bag. It's got air in the bag, but the shrimp are frozen in there, or the scallops are frozen in there. Scott P79 says that's bullshit, Midnight. There is a process to use flash freezing. It was pioneered by a very high-end sushi guy in New York City. Don't know much about flash freezing other than it's better for the texture, but I don't know how much that affects the overall protein as it falls. All I know is I've had quote unquote flash frozen tuna before, and it still to me was texturally kind of spongy. Not very much. It was really good. They also cold smoke tuna when they freeze it, and it kind of gives it that pinkish color too. It keeps that pinkish color when it's thawed, rather than getting a little bit beige or blander in color. No, this was for tuna because the guy couldn't always get fresh high-end tuna. Sorry, on one of the salt. I think he said salt on one of the episodes of Bourdain's TV show. Yeah, it's a thing for sure. I just don't know much about. Maybe I don't know much about some of the uber high-end techniques. You know, it could be. But doing an IQF, you can do that yourself. And we do it at the restaurant on the off chance that we have had days where if we have a holiday, we're going to be closed for a couple of days, and I'm sitting on scallops. I don't want to let them fresh. I don't want them to go bad. I don't want them to taste old. C4, what is flash freezing? It's just a super fast freezing process. It's like we're talking negative degrees to get it frozen super fast. And I think what that does is it's supposed to freeze so fast. I think what it does is it freezes fast so that it doesn't expand the cells and break the walls, I think. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to look it up for sure to understand the process myself. If somebody else knows, or whatever, that's cool. Throw it out there. Am I a fan of Gordon Ramsay? Yes and no. We can talk about that later if you want. So So I will IQF my own scallops. Basically, I'll take the scallops, throw them in the freezer just for half an hour or so till the outside is frozen. The inside is not yet frozen. And I'll actually dip them in ice water and put them back on a tray with parchment paper underneath. And what that does is that super cold scallop dipped in that ice will form a crust. It'll actually freeze around the scallop and individually quick frozen. You're doing it yourself, not really individually quick frozen, but it mimics that. And what it does is it builds a barrier for the air, so the air can't get to the product, and it actually does preserve them really, really well. And we'll use them for things like pasta and stuff that it's not, the texture is not going to be affected because we use a really nice fresh scallop there. But you can do that with stuff in your own freezer too. You can kind of IQF it yourself and then put it in a Ziploc bag or then vacuum seal it and get most of the air out. It's hard to vacuum seal things like, not hard to, but I would imagine it would be a little bit tough to vacuum seal like a scallop because it would want to smash it, right? Or you wouldn't get all the air out of it if you didn't want to smash it. So it might be a good happy medium to try and keep it fresh. So vacuum sealers are awesome. I have one at the restaurant. I use it for my steaks, especially my high-end steaks. If I do a, Wagyu, like we get a locally grown Wagyu New York in that it's quite expensive. So I'll vacuum seal them just so that over the couple of days that it might take to sell, they don't oxidize at all and they're, they hold their color really good. And when you open them up, they pink up really nice again. So let's see, anything out in anything out in the chat? There's probably all sorts of stuff going on out there. It's been a while. Do you guys have anything?
Talking about, I spent 4 or 5 summers working at a beef packing plant in the summertime. That's how I made money for school. And you're talking about the cryovac and stuff. And one of the things that I ran was a vacuum sealer. And, they would inject nitrogen into the beef to get it super chilled before they'd vacuum seal it. They actually had a nitrogen injection. People that would do that with their guns that they would use on, and it would fill it up, and the meat would just get super cold. And so that might also help the beef too when it gets vacuum sealed, because it is going to be hard to get around that physiological change to the food once it gets frozen and then reconstituted. It's kind of hard to get around that.
Yeah, nitrogen's used in food service a lot. With potato chips and stuff, what's inside that bag is not air; it's nitrogen. They call it nitrogen purged, and a lot of vacuum sealed stuff too. They do that with they'll actually right before it seals, they purge it with nitrogen, and that way any oxygen that might be in any of the crevices is forced out, because without oxygen, it can't oxidize. It won't discolor. So that's super common with lots of stuff. If you open up a bag of potato chips or, even Pringles or something, if there's space in the container or the bag, it's not air, it's nitrogen. Never mind the Tide Pod challenge. How about a cheese and vegetable omelet MRE challenge? There you go. Ben says, I highly doubt nitrogen is good for you, especially in meats, like you mentioned. Nitrogen's everywhere. It is one of the reasons, though, that it's best with meats. If you get meat, like Travis is talking about, meats that are vacuum sealed, to let them breathe a little bit after you open up the package, and you'll see. Scott says, Ben, do you realize our atmosphere is like 78% nitrogen? Yeah.
Once you open the bag, you're not going to be consuming it. I don't think you have to worry about that. It's gonna just dissipate when you open the bag. But
I don't know what would happen if you huff nitrogen. I don't know if anything would happen to you or not. You just go to sleep. I don't know. But if you ever get cryovac steaks or something, and you open them up, the color will change after a couple of minutes. It'll go from a light pink to usually a darker red as the air hits it and it starts to oxidize a little bit. So, anything else? Anybody else have anything?
You would talk about vacuum sealers. What would be a good home vacuum sealer to get? 'Cause I've been thinking about buying one.
I tell you what, I had a knockoff one once that I hated. Didn't last long, And hey, John Z's out there. What's going on, Johnny John? The wife's out there too. Hey, Calaveras, 2 Live Moo, 27 viewers. This is great, man. Very good. Ghost is out there. Unknown user. Gunsnob, we said that. Obnoxious is still here. Yeah, better luck next time. Philo, what's going on? I went with a Food Saver brand. Food Saver, I actually bought the last one I bought at Costco, which is nice. I got a great deal on it. They also sell the bags, but generally I would order the bags from them
directly.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was reading the chat. Yeah, Ben, we'll talk about cheesesteak next. Yep, cheesecake, not cheesesteak. What the website does is directly off the website is the more you order, the cheaper they are, which is nice. They have a tiered. If you buy one bag, it's this. If you buy a pack of 3, it's cheaper. A pack of 5, it's cheaper. And then they will also do sales where they'll do, I forget what it is, percentage off, 10%, 15% or something like that. So if you would buy the Food Saver and then buy one like bulk pack of like 6, and get it on that day or whatever, it's pretty inexpensive. It's not bad. It's a minimal cost really. And their bags are really good. I've used cheap knockoff bags and some of them don't cut well. They act kind of weird. So I would go with the Food Saver. That's what I've always used. That's what I've had the best luck with. They're really cool.
Yeah, I mentioned this over to Sarge. If you got a Sam's Club nearby, they've always got one that's on display that you can look at, and I think they carry the bags too. I would assume it's probably a Food Saver also.
I'll have to check it out next time over that way.
Yeah, just in their little kitchen utensil or kitchen appliance section.
Yeah, mine's a Black & Decker, but I don't know that I'd recommend it. I think the Food Savers are probably better quality.
Yeah, I mean, they're the ones that have been doing it forever. I'm not going to say they're the original brand or anything, but they're probably the biggest name in the business. There's a lot of different, and just like anything else, if you go to Walmart and buy one, if they have them, versus Costco versus order one online, there's a lot of different models. So I would go online and take a look. They have ones that are specifically for hunters and fishermen too, that have you can plug them into your cigarette lighter, and that way you can clean your fish. If you're a fisherman, clean your fish at the river. If you want to skin it or whatever you want to do, and you put it right in the bag, you vacuum seal it, and you throw it in your cooler, which is pretty awesome. I know they sell them at Bass Pro Shop and stuff. A lot of times they're camouflage. It's kind of neat, but they have like a Mossy Oak brand, or Mossy Oak, I think, camo on them. But that's pretty cool. I mean, it's a neat option. They're really good. Once you get one, you'll love it. And honestly, I have a buddy that is a police officer. He vacuum seals ammo. Keeps it in his garage because he didn't want to keep it in his garage because it's moisture, you know what I mean? But he didn't want it stacked up in his house. So he vacuum seals it and has a separate little cabinet in his garage. So that way, it doesn't corrode. It doesn't get weird. So that's pretty cool too. Yeah. If you buy one, you'll use it for sure. You'll love it. They're cool. Ben's talking about cheesecake. Okay. What did he want? He wanted to know.
You did a video for me on that, didn't you? Didn't you do a cheesesteak video? Yeah.
He's talking about cheesecake.
Oh, cheesecake. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I think it's a cheesesteak originally. I got you.
Yeah, the cheesesteak video was more like my first couple videos. That might have been my second video.
Good stuff.
Yeah, cheesecake. I have a recipe that I used at the restaurant. Don't have it on me right now. I'll try and rattle it off, but if it doesn't do any good if I miss something. But one of the things I like to do with cheesecake is not make them in the pans that most people do. A lot of times you do them in a springform pan that they're pretty deep. If you get a Cheesecake Factory, you've got cheesecakes that are 6-8 inches deep. They're crazy. They take forever to bake. They're a pain in the ass. You can bake them in anything. I actually, a lot of times at the restaurant, for parties and stuff where we have dessert trays. I will do them in sheet trays or cookie sheets almost, where they're only an inch deep. I'll put just straight ginger snaps or crushed up graham crackers down, and then I'll pour the batter on top of that, and it'll cook in like 45 minutes or half an hour. It cooks really fast, so it doesn't dry out. It doesn't crack. It doesn't expand like crazy and split and get all weird. And then all you do is let it cool down, and it's really easy to cut. You just get a big container with super hot water and a knife, and you just cut it into squares and scoop them out. Super easy. I can't say it's foolproof, but as far as a cheesecake that's a baked cheesecake, because you can do non-baked or unbaked, but if you do a baked cheesecake, it's pretty much the safest way to go, because you're not baking it for a whole long time. You don't have to worry about it overcooking or undercooking so much. You literally can just cook it until it's firm in the middle. It's not jiggly. It doesn't look wet, and a toothpick comes out pretty clean, and it's good. The biggest thing with cheesecake that people don't do is they usually rush the batter. You want to start with sugar, cream cheese, paddle that. You don't want to add air, so you don't want to use a whisk or a whip or something. You want to use the paddle attachment, and you want to do that until the mixture is not grainy anymore. So when you taste it, it doesn't have any grittiness from the sugar. And then you go with everything else. When you start adding eggs, you always want to add eggs to something like that one at a time. Add one, let it incorporate. Add another, let it incorporate until the batter's done. Cheesecake batter does best if you let it rest for a little while. Put it in your refrigerator for an hour before you use it. It lets all the air bubbles come out, and you'll be left with a more dense filling, more dense cheesecake. It won't be airy or as crumbly. That's it. I mean, cheesecake's not hard, and there's some really good no bakes out there that use like gelatin and stuff. I mean, if you're looking to do something quick and fun and easy, I don't know, that's a good way to go too. Jello makes some box stuff too. Hell, you want to impress the ladies, just go make a no bake. Here you go. You guys cheesecake fans?
Oh God, yeah. The problem I have with cheesecake is that it's so easy just to go buy one in the store because they are so freaking good. I mean, they have those variety ones you can buy. I mean, it's hard. I mean, you can even get your Cheesecake Factory ones, in the store. So I've got the springform pan. I've never actually made one, and I'm sure homemade is better. But anything I've ever had has just been fantastic. Any store bought cheesecake has like never let me down.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say if you get somebody who knows what they're doing, because I got a cousin who's pretty much a baker. She went through school for it, and she does amazing cheesecake. She usually does a lot of Oreo crusts is what she does a lot of times. But
yeah, that's a good way.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Gun Channels chat. DT Pfeiffer's down there. He's talking. I'm a little bit behind in the Gun Channels chat. He says you can vacuum seal liquids by freezing them first. There's also, I know we're going backwards here a little bit. The vacuum sealers now, you can get, some of them have, almost all of them have a setting for wet or dry. The dry, if you use the dry setting, it's going to put more force into the vacuum. If it's the wet setting, it won't do that so much, so that it won't actually suck the liquid out of the bag. But there's also attachments that have a tube, and you can put the tube into something. If it's a container, and draw the air out through the tube and then seal it. And those I've never really done that a whole lot because I haven't had a whole lot of reason to, but there's different options for things that are liquids too. He says it's good for soups, chilies, stocks. Yeah, absolutely. He said we just use regular cake pans at work. Yep. The biggest thing with using a regular pan, a springform pan is made for a specific reason. It's so that when a cheesecake's done, if you do a cheesecake that's really tender, delicate, you unhinge the side, and the pan actually from the side actually opens up. And you can lift that off without taking chunks out of it, and then the bottom stays there. If you do a cheesecake that's more dense and I'll say drier, but that's not in a bad way, but it's a little bit drier. Yeah, you can just kind of invert them and pop them out, and it's not going to hurt, and especially if they're not super, super deep or high, thick, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So that's not it's not uncommon to not use a spring form. You just definitely have to know what kind of cake you're going to end up with when you start, because if it's a super tender one and you try and invert it, it's just going to crack and fall all over the place and break apart.
We just
and then
eat
you're going
it
to have
up.
to turn it into. Well, that's what I was going to say. I've had cheesecakes that have not turned out well, and there's some really fun stuff you can do with them. Honestly, if you throw them, if you throw it right back into the mixer with a paddle and just paddle it, basically you end up with like a I don't want to say a cheesecake pudding, but
like a mousse or something. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say. If you take that and then you fold in like whipped topping, you almost get like a cheesecake mousse. So there's kind of fun stuff that's one of the things that's kind of neat about the industry is mistakes can be like your best friend, because sometimes you screw something up and you're like, how am I going to use this? And you end up making something awesome out of, a mistake. So, you guys, cheesecake guys?
Oh yeah.
You said you're a
yeah.
Definitely the chocolate ones, man. That's what gets me. Like the triple chocolate death ones, that they make, and
we do. Yeah, we have one on the menu right now that's a chocolate cheesecake with Chinese five spice. Yeah. And that's another one too. My wife just said out there makes raspberry cheesecake creme brulee. We do a creme brulee feature. Enough ketchup fixes about anything. Phoenix says, yeah, ketchup is a major food group, man. You just add 2 ketchup and you got yourself some awesome stuff.
Vegetables.
Yeah, it is a vegetable. It's just a liquid vegetable.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like beer.
Yeah, liquid bread.
Liquid bread, yeah.
Yeah. We'll throw all sorts of stuff, fun stuff in the vanilla creme brulee base and make brulees out of them, and just throw like chunks of brownie in it, or like that chunks of cheesecake. And it's pretty neat because it's almost like it's the same idea as like, but Ben and Jerry's ice cream or something. You've got ice cream with like chunks of, cookies and all sorts of stuff in it. We do the same thing with creme brulee. It's pretty neat. So, we've been doing that for years. I've been doing that for my whole career, is throwing fun stuff in creme brulees. I used to do a grilled pineapple creme brulee. That was really cool. Chunks of grilled pineapple in it. That was really neat.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's fun, and it's like a dessert garbage can. Anything can go in there. You can throw anything into a creme brulee and it'll be tasty. So I don't know. We got more food chat or what? What do we all food chatted out? Yeah, it's Phoenix says, isn't tomato a fruit? Yes, it is a fruit.
Technically.
Yeah. But an eggplant is a berry. Technically. So,
aren't strawberries vegetables?
I
thought I heard that. I could be wrong.
No, I think there's something to do with the seeds being on the outside as far as their classification. A lot of it has to do with how they grow and where the seeds are with stuff too. I'm not really sure.
But eggplant is a berry?
Eggplant is technically a berry, I think. Yeah.
That's
fantastic. It grows on a...
Dude, it's so good.
It grows on a plant, not like a tree, and it's got the seeds on the inside. I think that has something to do with it. I don't know. What did Ben say out there? Doesn't like cheesecake. He who consumes soy products. Some good soy stuff out there. Nothing wrong with that. Uh-oh, eggplant pictures out there. Creeping me out.
Oh, God.
Get out of here with that stuff. C4, Scott saying about likes his Vortex Crossfire. You talking about the scope, the red dot, or the traditional scope? The C4. Are you talking about putting a crossfire on your DMR that you're thinking about building?
No, I've got a Holosun 507C coming to T&E for a month for my Glock 34.
Oh, cool.
We're having a chat about that for a second.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Mad Sexy saying, do I have any recipe for a chicken jerk sauce? Not really. I haven't done a whole lot of jerk stuff. And when I have, honestly, I've done it a couple times for parties that have like requested like jerk chicken satays and stuff. And yeah, I've just kind of gone with a bought sauce. Honestly, I've gotten.
Dude, I love to mix Sweet Baby Ray's with sriracha.
Yeah,
and that Sweet is Baby like a nice spicy sweet. Yeah,
Sweet Baby Ray's is for sure my favorite sauce. I mean, I started using it in the restaurant actually before they had any other flavors. It was just the original.
Yeah, the original. Yeah, I was working in a grocery store when they first introduced it to Nebraska. They gave us all sample bottles and stuff. And now, do you guys get that? There's a sauce. It's not in Nebraska. It's made in Iowa, but it's called Cookies barbecue sauce.
I don't know.
That out? Okay, that's like the one that all the moms use out here for like the crock pot meatballs and little smokies and stuff because it doesn't scorch. It doesn't scorch in your crock pots.
Yeah.
Like it stays saucy, it doesn't make a mess. So Cookies is awesome.
Yeah, we used to do ribs. We used to do ribs at the place I used to work years ago, and a pulled pork. And we had it was a country club. So there was a restaurant, there was a bar and grill, and then there was it was it's kind of a sportsy bar. I don't know whatever they want to call it, but we used to do a Sweet Baby Ray's, and I would doctor it up a little bit. I would dice and caramelize onions till they were really gooey, like really nice and dark and rich, like that chestnut brown color. And then I would throw in a pitcher of Yingling lager and reduce that down till it was like almost gone. Yoder's got a question. Okay, I'll go with that. And then we would add the Sweet Baby Ray's and pureed chipotle peppers. And
that sounds amazing, man.
And let it sort of simmer. Just let it bubble away. So you've got this like caramelized onion and beer, and the spicy smokiness of the chipotle. That's a good sauce. Now Sweet Baby Ray's has I don't know how many types. They've got a bunch of different types, and I know they have a spicy one. I think they have like a sweet onion one or something like that. So I don't know. Maybe they came in and ate one night and were like, we're going to rip this guy off. Yoder says, how much is the lemon sweetened condensed milk pie hated by the pros? I'm not sure.
Is he talking about like an icebox pie?
Probably. I'm thinking something like that.
That's what it sounds like.
Lemon sweetened condensed milk pie. There's some really good stuff. Even on the channel, the coconut bars, the coconut butterscotch chocolate bars that are on there, that are on my channel, that uses sweetened condensed milk. Sweetened condensed milk's kind of a neat product, actually. They also use it in Thai tea. If you've ever been to a Thai restaurant, they'll do like a really nice dark tea and whisk in sweetened condensed milk. And that sweetens it and makes it nice and creamy. I don't know, man. Some chefs are really weird, right? I'm a big fan of making as much from scratch that I can. And like at the restaurant, all our desserts are made in house. We don't have a ton of them. But all our desserts are made in house. All our dessert sauces are made in house. We buy ice cream. I don't make my own ice cream right now. But we try and make as much as possible. Some chefs are, from scratch only, and I understand that. I live in the world where you have to pick your battles, right? I don't cut my own French fries, stuff like that. And some places do. So when you start looking at, things like that are maybe easy desserts or quick desserts or things like that you would think, chefs would hate, not necessarily. If I do something really fun and simple, I've done that with mousse. Like we talked about the cheesecake mousse. I've done that. I've had guys mess up the cheesecake, get the recipe wrong and have it turn out soft that we couldn't use it. And that's what I did with it. I literally threw it in a mixer. I paddled the hell out of it and then folded in a non-dairy whipped topping that we keep for what do they use it for? Use it out front for something. One of the drinks. One of the bar, or for like hot cocoa and stuff, chocolate, hot chocolate and stuff. And I folded that in and made this cheesecake mousse. All right, that's like super like mom Susie homemaker kind of stuff, but it was really good and people liked it. So that's what's important. And that's what really matters at the end of the day is are the people that are in the dining room really happy? Do they feel like they got their money's worth and they had a good experience? That's a big deal. That's worth more than just about anything else. Mad Sexy is saying, try this. 1 cup of white flour mixed with Pepsi until it's thick and smooth, drizzled into your fryer and cook until golden brown. So you're making Pepsi funnel cake. There you go. Nothing wrong with that. Funnel cake's awesome stuff. Phoenix, rule of thumb, anything he doesn't have to make is automatically better than anything he has to cook in the kitchen. That's right. I feel like there was something else there. Okay. Ben says, I got a good question. So I'm into aviation and I hear a lot about airline food, how it is food from restaurants at the airport. Oh, how is food from restaurants at the airport different from on the plane than on the ground? Man, you know what? I'm trying to think of what show it was. I watched a show, like Modern Marvels kind of show once. And it was more recent where it was, literally modern. It wasn't some of the stuff that they did was from, it was older, and they did plain foods, how they do it. And it's really pretty awesome. A lot of it is heated and held, and then served. And, I don't know. It's not an industry I'm in. I mean, it's an industry I'm in, but it's not something I've ever done. So it's kind of tough to speak on it. I don't know. It'd be a good one to look into. Answer the Krabby Patty question before Gary has a stroke. Gary, my revolver says, do I eat crab legs? If so, how do you cook them? I don't eat. I love crab legs. My wife at one time was a vegetarian, so she doesn't like anything that still looks like, it is alive, or, if it looks like it did when it was alive, she's not a huge fan of it. So crab legs aren't something that we do. But crab legs are one of those things that if it isn't broke, don't screw it up, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You can't reinvent the mouse trap all the time. So when I've done them in the past, we used to do them at the old place. Like I said, we worked at a country club, so that's the kind of things you see. You see snow crab legs a lot for, golf outings and stuff like that back in the day, or they're the night where all the members came and it was like kind of like a mixer or whatever. And man, we just did them really simple. We do, lemon. I like not just lemon when I cook seafood and stuff like that. I'll do lemon, lime, and orange. I think it's neat to have the lime and the orange in there too. So basically, I would just cut up a whole bunch of lemons, limes, and oranges, and use that in the water with the traditional stuff: Old Bay, garlic. Nothing too fancy. One thing that I have started doing when you're talking about things like this, though, is instead of flavoring the water when I cook like shrimp, if I do boiled shrimp, I've started to marinate the shrimp ahead of time and then boil it in just a citrusy seasoned water. So I'll take the shrimp, Old Bay, garlic, some fresh herbs, and some citrus juice, and marinate that for like 2 or 3 hours, and then I'll boil that. And it's nice because it really gets into the shrimp. A lot of times people will boil just plain old shrimp, and they throw tons and tons and tons of stuff in the water, and it tastes pretty good, and the outside tastes good, but it never really gets through to the inside. So I kind of like that. It's kind of a trick I've been doing for the last couple of years, and you really taste the difference. It's really nice. But crab, yeah, really simple, man. Boil them. Make sure whenever you're doing stuff like that, make sure your water is boiling hard before you drop anything into it. You never want to start with a cool water or room temperature or something like that. Obviously, you want it at a rolling boil. And what's nice too is if you're going to throw, like I throw citrus in there, whatever you're going to throw in that water, throw it in there a while ahead of time so that it really draws all the flavors out of it into that liquid. Because that liquid's going to what makes the seafood taste good. I mean, otherwise you're just, you're drawing the flavors out of it after you're done. What the hell good is that? That's not good. Phoenix says, just stick to imitation crab, cheaper, less work, and tastes nearly as good as once submerged in hot butter. Yeah, you see, it's called surimi, crab legs, imitation crab, or surimi. You see it in sushi places a lot too. That's why I get a lot of compliments. Sarge, you had what sushi roll did I do for you? That was the BLT, the spicy tuna BLT.
Yes,
did for you guys.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that was a cool roll. It's 100% tuna. It's a really nice sushi grade tuna we use. If you've ever gone to a sushi restaurant or a restaurant that does sushi, that does like really cheap sushi, a lot of times you'll see things like the imitation crab. They'll even use that mixed with the tuna and stuff to kind of stretch it, to bump it up. And it doesn't have a whole lot of flavor. It's actually pollock, usually like just a generic crappy whitefish that they puree and form into the little sticks and cook them. So they're kind of meh. They just don't have a whole lot to them.
That's Cajun spices. Ask you, what is it? The fake crab.
Yeah, it's that. They take a really generic, and it's kind of funny because they take a really generic kind of cheap whitefish. They'll season it, puree it, and then extrude it and form it almost like a hot dog, right? It's like a fish hot dog kind of. But they'll actually color it too. They'll put red food coloring on it to make it look like it's got, look like a crab leg. So it's white and red. Yeah.
It makes sugar in with it too. It has kind of a sweet flavor to it.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. I whatever they put in it is what they put in it. Yeah. They season it to make it taste as much like crab as they possibly can without actually using crab. So.
Hey, I got a few questions. You got time for the question? All right.
Yeah, go ahead. General relativity, general out there said a good one that would be kind of cool to talk about. But go ahead, yeah.
Just real quick, if I might be picking up a smoker at some point in the future, electric smoker for the house.
Mm-hmm.
Preparing a brisket. What do you do?
Ooh, man, I've never had at the restaurant a real smoker. Okay. I've always done like tabletops or, on the range where you just put the wood chips down and, you're a rack and then you cover it in foil or something. I had one oven years ago that I turned into a smoker, sort of, kind of. That's all I used it for. And I used to smoke sirloins in it.
Yum.
But I mean, brisket's good. Brisket's awesome. I mean, it's got some really long, it's got a lot of grain to it. Like it's grainy. That's why it's great for smoking, or, slow roasting or, slow cooking. But I mean, anything, Clover's actually an awesome guy to talk to. He loves the barbecue, but,
well, see, he's from Texas, and they won't give you their secrets. They won't tell you anything. They're just like, put the meat in the smoker, and that's all they're going to tell you.
You gotta find his pot of gold and hold it hostage for him.
Maybe he'll give him more money on Patreon.
Yeah, he'll have to tell you. But I think it's kind of up to you what you decide to do. I mean, there's people do wet marinades, they do dry marinades. I'm generally like a wet marinade for a lot of stuff that I roast. And a lot of my meats, I do a burgundy base. I like that sweet red wine, so I do burgundy, ginger, garlic, fresh thyme, salt and pepper, and chili flake as a marinade for beef a lot. And I'll just sort of if I do prime rib, I'll do that. So I'll just put prime rib, a whole ribeye in a pan with some of that, and then every half an hour or so I kind of roll it, and I just do that for like 2 days, and then I'll do chopped garlic, sort of the same thing without the burgundy, and just lay a little bit on top.
Okay.
And then I roast that. But I mean, that's more of the wet side. I mean, a lot of those guys down there are doing dry rubs where they're almost using something that's, I don't want to dumb it down because, what a lot of those guys do is awesome. But a lot of times it's almost like a Cajun spice or like a Cajun seasoning, or something like that. I've done dry rubs, and honestly, I've started with Cajun seasoning a lot. I'll take Cajun seasoning and I'll add like brown sugar, and that actually works out really good because it's kind of gives it a little sweet, caramely sweetness and the spice. I mean, that's just me fooling around. You know what I mean? Not trying to spend a whole lot of time on something though. So, yeah,
cool.
Gun channels. DT says a guy I work with would eat condensed soup straight out of the can without adding water. It's like making ramen noodles without without letting any water in there. It's just gonna be salty. I need to thicken the. Yoder say, oh, he's okay. Hold on a second, I missed something. How can I improve the lemon? Boy, him and DT are going back and forth on stuff. I'm not going to get involved with that. Oh shit! No. I just deleted a message. DT's. I didn't even know I could do that on gun channels. Sorry, DT. Might want to retype that. Dead Horse says he's still waiting to hear everyone's recipes for Klingon blood pie. I don't know. Blood sausage, I've seen. Never made a whole pie out of it though. And there was General Relativity said something out here that was, oh shoot. Mechanically processed whitefish, Google fish processing ship. Yeah, that's a really cool. I think I talked about this on a show one time. This was really cool. Obviously, large production ships don't go out, for a day or two and they come back. A day or two or come back. They can't. It's impossible. They're going out in the ocean too far. Would a fish hot dog still be a sandwich? Yes, C4, it would. They go out for weeks at a time, right? So what's really, really cool, and it was another show kind of like we were talking about modern Marvels or something like it. These ships will go out and they'll catch sometimes multiple types of fish, but not always. Sometimes it's specifically one kind. And it was amazing to see because they will fish for these fish for fish, obviously. They bring them on board. They basically just dump them straight through the floor, the top deck, straight down into the processing area where they're processed. There's a bunch of workers down there. They do their thing. Each one, it's kind of assembly line work. Each one does a certain thing. Usually one guy will, take the head off, move it. The next guy will do this, the next guy will do this, whatever. Same way as Travis's. You guys, they would have seen them do beef,
Yeah.
For the most part. And what's really cool is they basically fish for, process, and then package and freeze right on the ships. There was also one that I watched one time where when they processed it down to the, and they had things left over like skin, whatever, they obviously will use that for, send it for like cat food or dog food or something, but they had it down to the point where nothing was wasted. They would literally render the leftovers. Yeah, they would render whatever's left over, and whatever oils they extracted out of it, they were using that to power the ship. They would send it right down to the engine rooms, and almost like, you can run diesel off of all sorts of crazy stuff. They were using it to power the ship, however they were doing. I don't remember how, but that was really awesome to think about, that they were actually they were using literally like 100% of, the fish, down to the point where they were using it as fuel to power the ship. That was really cool. I'm way super crazy behind on here. I'm just BSing too much tonight. Ben's asking about brioche rolls for burgers. Brioche is a little bit tough. It's not. That's a bad way to say it. It's not tough. But there are a million different recipes out there. It's very, very trial and error. A brioche roll tends to be, if you've ever had challah bread is very similar to a brioche. And they tend to be high in egg yolk. They're kind of yellowish. They're on the sweeter side. And a traditional brioche is pretty dense. It's not like light and airy and fluffy like a white bread would be, like, Wonder Bread or something. It tends to be a little more dense, like a challah or something like that. So.
I'm going to jump off just because I'm going to go over and give the guys crap for just a minute, and then I've got to go to bed.
Okay.
No, I mean, like, seriously. I'm so sorry, guys.
What the hell just happened? Was she in the wrong chat?
The gun gals were trying to hijack your chat, maybe? I don't know. She was rocking two headsets.
Just got trolled.
Dang. Wow.
I could have swore she said, "I'll be right back. I'm going to go do something." And then, yeah, that was crazy. Clover Tech says, "Duh, you're in the wrong chat." Remember when? I really think Travis, we talked about this kind of thing a while back.
Yeah, man.
We need to do. Are you back again?
Whoa.
Sorry. I'm having technical difficulties. Okay.
Clover, your old lady's having a meltdown, man. You might need to get over there. Clover said, "Did you cover my question?" Yeah, we actually started out with it. We talked about. He was talking about freezing some pot stickers. He wanted to make some pot stickers, so we talked about freezing foods for a pretty good chunk of the beginning of the show. So yeah, you have to go back and listen to it.
Did y'all already cover his flipping shoes?
No, we didn't talk about shoes. I
watched the video
don't even know.
Man. That BOGO
I'm not even. You know what? I'm not even 100% sure if I should let you be in this chat right now because I wasn't allowed to be in your chat.
Oh.
I'm waiting for an apology.
First of all, you sent me a link.
I'm waiting.
You sent me a link.
I'm waiting for an apology.
Yeah, because men aren't.
Now they're all showing up.
Men are always.
I'm so sorry. Please accept my humble apology. My feet.
Clover says we don't want to talk about shoes. Yeah, if you haven't watched, check out Clover's channel. He's on the prowl for trouble. He's looking for trouble.
That's great.
Yeah. Clint saying, "Who's had pork steak before?" What do you mean by pork steak? I mean pork chop. is a pork chop. I've had pork T-bones. I've had pork porterhouses. Those are pretty awesome. If you ever get a chance to have a pork porterhouse, do it. Especially if you're the kind of person that doesn't need to cook it to death. If you try and cook it to like mid-well, keep it like nice and moist, that's a good way to go. Yeah.
If you've ever bought
gunpowder's here too.
Oh shit. Oh, I see how it is.
So basically, me and Gizzard should have been allowed to be on your show.
Hey, there's always possible room for anything. I'm not saying it will or won't, but there's a possibility.
That's okay. That's okay. One of these, you have ladies' night at the range. One day, maybe we'll have guys' night on gun gals. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, we have stuff in the works because we have Patreon now, and we've been trying to figure out how to do it and what to do. So we don't have any mods yet. So that's one of the things we're talking about, and we're also talking about how to figure out maybe one of our help me out. What am I thinking? One of our
patrons?
Yeah, one of our statuses or whatever.
One of the Patreon levels is going to sit there and
thank you.
Be able to host or be a guest on our show.
Yes. It would be kind of cool. I mean, because that's the only way you guys are going to get on.
So basically, we have to pay to be on your show.
I think it would be worth it.
Listen, you got to pay to play. That's all we're saying.
What if Mohawk Boy agreed to wear a wig and a dress?
Listen.
Yeah, that would be shuffle. Yeah.
What is it? He already says he wears women's shoes.
Yeah, they're fancy. Fancy. What can I say?
Does your wife know about that?
No, probably not.
She does now.
I like them. I like it when they have the little fluffy insides. They're nice.
Oh, those are so comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What the hell is general relativity? I cooked the shit out of everything because I want it all dead. Oh, he's cooking everything to death. That's a bummer. Pork, and I get that. I get the whole thing with pork. A lot of people are still a little sketchy with pork. Pork's been really, really, really safe for years. It's something that you don't have to really stress out about. I try and do pork mid-well if I can, or just barely past it.
Unless it's wild.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're talking domestic. Yeah, for sure.
Oh.
So what are the levels of cooking pork that you have to safely cook it at?
Technically, if you look it up or you go by, the FDA, pork should be probably, I think it's 155. Taken to 155 and then it'll carry over a little bit. I'm not sure if it's 155 or 165. Probably 155. But that would be, you know what? It's probably 165. Because I know when you do ground beef and stuff like that, they always say that with ground beef too. And ground beef is a little bit more dangerous than cut steak. Because in a way, it's more because of how processed it is. Let's say you're going to send 50 beef chucks from 50 different animals through the grinder. If that first animal is contaminated, everyone after that will technically be contaminated too. So if it's a cut steak, you're just worried about the knife, really. So if you're sanitizing knives in between animals, then there really can't be any cross contamination, theoretically. Yep. Rupan says my $3 thermometer says 165. There you go, buddy. Yep, 165 and let stand. Yeah. It's and there's numbers for every medium rare, all that kind of stuff. been a while since I've had to worry about that stuff, though. The actual temperatures, I forget. It leaves your mind. Yeah. Ben says, would you rather eat McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a week straight, or go to Amy's Baking Company? If you've ever, Amy's Baking Company is from Ramsey's. Which one's Ramsey's show? I forget. Ben, what is it?
The Hell's Kitchen?
No, not Hell's Kitchen. It's
Ramsey's Kitchen Nightmares.
Yeah, Kitchen Nightmares. Yeah. It was a place out in Scottsdale, Arizona. Kitchen Nightmares. The owners are totally crazy, nuts, bananas. So, yeah. Watch it. It's worth it. I don't know how much of it is. I can imagine. I mean, people are, I'm sure, to some extent putting on a little bit of a show. But even if they're only putting on a little bit of a show, they're still crazy. Yeah. Yeah, he walked out of that place, I think. So. All right. Do you guys, anybody, I mean, I've been rambling like crazy. You're probably sick of hearing me. Do you guys have anything to add to anything? Just open it up to you guys.
I didn't get my answer about the pork.
What was your answer? What was the question?
I mean, obviously it can't be rare, but would it be like medium? And course.
Oh, well, I mean, technically, if you're not worried about any kind of illness, like I'm really not, it would be the same as beef.
Really?
Yeah. You mean if you want, if either, that's the thing. If you're not going to cook it well done to 165, then it doesn't really matter. If you're going to cook it under 165, that 165 mark is what's going to kill any bacteria or parasites that are in it. So that's why I then at that point under that, you're basically cooking it because of flavor and texture. Like steak, if you want a medium rare steak versus a medium well, they're still dangerous because they're undercooked. Now I've had people come into the restaurant and order pork medium, and it's not an issue with me. I do it. Anything under medium, I think, is a little bit texturally, depending on the cut, it gets a little bit weird. It's a little bit gummy, I think. But that's a judgment call for you as a consumer. Yep.
Hey, I'm actually.
The wife says I'm super distracted tonight. I am. I'm all over the place tonight because I'm trying to read the chat.
I'm actually going to bow out. I actually start my new job in the morning, so I have to get up like super early. So I just wanted to come in and give you grief, especially after I noticed it said helping out Clover. So, I mean, like,
well, yeah, we're helping out Clover.
Seriously. I mean, for real.
Somebody's got to help the guy out. Geez, you take him shopping and there's not even anything there for him to buy.
Yeah.
Hashtag men's feet matter.
That is not what happened, just so you know. We were already in town. I was going to start my new job. I showed him my shoes, and I was like, I really need to buy a new pair of shoes. We got in the store, and I was like, why are there so many freaking people here? And, I mean, we were just walking straight back to the shoes. I mean, we weren't looking for anything else. And there's a buy one, get one. Okay, cool. And so I start looking for shoes, and I'm like, this would be cool. Why don't you go look and see if they've got you some shoes? And, I could get a pair and you could get a pair. It'd be kind of cool. I've got a pair of shoes anyway. So, and then he gets pissed off because they don't have any shoes for men at all. So, oh my gosh, then the next 24 hours is nothing but men's feet matter, and Bell
men
sucks.
have too.
Was he trying to get the shoes where the tips are like pointy up like a little elf?
They had a little bell on them.
Yeah, with a little buckle. Is that why?
I don't know what he was looking at, but I fussed at him because, I mean, his video runs through it so fast that you couldn't tell it anyway, but yeah, so whatever.
I'll tell you what.
Like, are you serious? Are you serious? You weren't even looking for shoes to begin with. You weren't even looking for shoes to begin with. It didn't matter. What was the point of that video? Seriously. You didn't?
He and I were
To show there were no good deals for the guys in the whole store, or boys for that matter.
Okay. He had no intentions of looking at shoes when we first went in there. Had no intentions of, had no need for shoes. So what was the whole point?
I don't know.
Because this is totally going to go viral.
To show that the guys were being discriminated against because there were no deals for men or boys in that whole store. It doesn't matter what he was looking for; it just caught his attention, you know.
I think it was I tell you, we were.
Have I taken my blood pressure medicine today? I can't remember.
You've been in Grandpa's cough medicine again, huh? All whacked out.
No, I'm trying to remember if I take my blood pressure medicine.
I really feel no sympathy because nobody knows the experience until you got to buy a size 14 or bigger, and you're trying to find cheap shoes because that is impossible.
I wear a 13. It can be kind of tough too. Now, what I thought was really funny, and it had me kind of I even told him this. It had me kind of giggling watching this video. Was it almost reminded me of like Blair Witch because he was like running through the. He's like running down the aisles, and it was all shaky. And he was like, "Look, none here. Look, none here. Look." He's all wound up. It was pretty funny.
Okay. And I said this in Clover when Ghost and Clover went on earlier. Okay. And I told Chris this yesterday on the way home. I said, "Do you know how funny it would be, seriously, to put a dash cam in our car of him and me?" Just fussing at one another. I said, people would get a kick out of it because we don't go on shows together at all. So people don't know what it's like between the two of us.
Live stream it. Whoa.
Well, because we're nothing alike. If you don't,
that's perfect. That's what people like to watch.
Everyone's totally going to watch it because everyone got a kick out of me and Tardot going to Wanamaker. It would be perfect.
Well, Chris is He's very professional. He's very smart. He's very intelligent. This is the way it is. And when y'all see him let loose, it's ridiculous. And you're like, oh my God, just shut up. And you're saying ugly words within all that, but you're like, seriously?
See, the way, when he was rocking those sunglasses in the video, I thought I was watching an Instructor Zero video or something. I didn't know what was going on.
Oh my God! And he looks like a freaking Yeti. Well, he finally shaved today.
Sasquatch tack.
Oh my God! I did that earlier too. I was like,
Squatch tack.
His hair was out here, and I'm like, dude, do you know how bad you look? I mean, seriously. And that's probably why he had glasses on. And I'm like, dude, he's trying to grow up. Like, dude, really?
He did look like he was straight off a NASCAR track. He was looking for trouble.
Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, okay, Ricky Bobby.
Honey, I do love you, I promise. But oh my God, seriously.
He's running through the aisle screaming, "If you ain't first, you're last. If you ain't first, you're last."
Here you go. Check out what I put on the internal chat. Here you go. This is a good one for you. There you go. Click on that.
Do I have it?
If you're on your phone, you can't see it.
Oh, okay. It's an Irish Yeti.
Oh, nice.
Little woolly.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, yeah. I can't see it. Yeah, I'm on my phone. Anyway.
Comes with a cell phone case, T-shirt.
I think Sarge needs his man card intervention over here. You see the side chat?
Okay.
He's screaming out. He's screaming out for help. He just had to let us know. He says, "I'm drinking Angry Orchard through a straw."
Oh man, that's gonna get you.
There we go.
There you go.
Did you get some sample while you're at it?
Holy shit! I think I know that guy.
Why is Clover on fire? He says, "I'm on fire. I'm on fire."
Did your pipe finally catch up with you, Clover?
No, he's making a Ricky Bobby reference there.
I think I know that guy.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see, is that the guy? That's the guy. I'm the guy.
Don't start yelling about shoes.
Yeah. They don't even have my clogs. Where's my clogs? I don't know.
But to be fair, my shoes are super cute.
So I honestly, at this point, I just can't believe that Clover hasn't gone outside and like taken bolt cutters and cut the goddamn wires to this Wi-Fi.
How can you cut the wires? It's wireless.
Whatever. Well, to the router, you know what I mean.
Well, I'm on my phone, so that's not.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you're impenetrable. You're good to go.
Hang on.
All right.
All right, but see, they
are those the ones that he bought for himself eventually?
This chick buys for herself. Just to be fair, and to clear things up there, okay? And these are my other ones, because I did the buy one get one.
Fancy.
Because they had her size.
Yeah, well, we wouldn't know about the BOGO because it wasn't there for men, so you know.
Yeah, he says Clover says the internet here might actually work better if he cuts the wires.
We're not allowed to enjoy buy one get ones.
I know. Roll call.
So is that like our female privilege going on right there, that we get buy one get one and y'all don't?
Yep.
You get buy one,
you get to live 10 years longer than we do.
You gotta.
That's only because y'all do stupid stuff to make yourself die faster.
Yeah, like,
it is not our fault.
Like go get food.
No, we give you all those extra 10 years because we're in a hurry to get out.
Because we want to die first.
Well, sweetheart, if you wanna die faster, just keep on talking. I promise you, it can come quicker than waiting 10 years.
Oh, geez.
We die faster because we firmly believe that the 60-second rule applies to any surface.
Gosh.
60-second or 60-minute? 60-minute rule, I thought it was.
Well, you know, ice cream usually doesn't last 60 minutes on a hot sidewalk.
And down there in the Gun Channels chat, DT says that I was asking about pork steaks. He said there are steaks cut from the pork shoulder, which is the pork butt, which a lot of people, if you don't know that the pork butt is actually the pork shoulder because porks are front wheel drive. I explained that in the show one time. I had a chef explain it to me that way, and it makes total sense. Okay, now watch, listen.
I'm listening.
Most animals, when they run, they push off with their back feet, right? So most animals have a hind quarter that's bigger, it's meatier, it's more developed. Pigs don't run that way. Pigs pull with their front feet, and they scoot their back feet underneath them, right? So they have meatier shoulders and little.
Could you demonstrate for us?
That's actually how he got kicked out of Walmart.
Yeah. So when I was in culinary school, to sort of, not prove a point, but to make a little fun anecdote, he said most animals are rear wheel drive. Pigs are front wheel drive. So you'll never forget that. You'll remember that forever. Pigs are front wheel drive.
I honestly can say I will never forget that now.
Yeah.
I can't wait to tell the story tomorrow.
Yeah. And that's why when you get a pork butt, it's not a pork butt. It's actually the shoulder. They call the shoulder the butt because it's, if you get the butt of another animal, it's usually the hind end, but the bigger pieces in the shoulder for the pig because they front wheel drive. They're like an import, and they are an import. They're not native. They're feral animals. See, all imports suck. Buy American.
America.
America, fuck yeah!
What the hell kind of garbage ass this show is ridiculous. Who the hell would watch this shit? What the hell's wrong with you 25 people that are watching this? I don't know. It's horrible.
There's nothing else on TV.
I suppose. Is the television totally dead and everybody else is, town?
Well, how many of them are trying to get their $1 worth of Patreon money out of this?
Yeah,
that's true. I'm not.
God damn it! I could have gotten myself a Hershey bar instead of this shit.
It's like,
damn it, Billy.
Damn it, I'm gonna wait. The last 5 minutes of this might not suck. I'm gonna try and wait it out.
3.5 hours later. Damn it.
Vanessa says her TV is off. Thanks, Vanessa.
Okay, I really am gonna go since I've done all that fussing. So y'all wish me luck at work tomorrow.
Good luck. Love you, honey.
Thank you.
For somebody that didn't want to talk about shoe shopping, she sure talked an awful lot about shoe shopping.
Well, I just had to put my side of that out there. I'm just saying.
And now in the chat out there, we know that Phoenix is now the biggest liar on gun channels. He said, "I'm only here because I ran out of Travis P11 reviews to watch." We know that ain't gonna happen.
Nonsense. I've got 4 seasons you can go watch, bro. I got 600 episodes. Don't even give me that.
Maybe he binge watched them all. You don't know his life.
I don't know. I don't think there's enough time in a lifetime to do all that.
There's not enough Red Bull on the planet to binge watch all those videos.
I don't think there's enough meth to binge watch all those.
Oh no, there is. But wait a minute, what?
If you took that much meth, you would just be dead.
How do you think I crank out 4 videos a day? Wait a minute, what?
I thought it was sniffing onions and rim oil.
I thought it was you getting that sugar high from the McDonald's tea.
Oh, sweet tea.
It's almost as good as Greg.
Every time I open this can, I can smell the diabetes.
Mm-hmm. Are you talking about Wilford Brimley? He's in the chat here, you know.
Take care of yourself and take care of your diabetes.
Just wait. Just wait.
I don't do people. You guys remember who Wilford Brimley is, right? He's the guy that was in Cocoon, the dude with the mustache and the glasses. Because we always talk about Wilford Brimley. I mean, he hasn't done anything in like 25 years.
No, he's still active. I looked him up on
I
Wikipedia.
haven't seen him in a movie as long as I can remember. What's that?
He came to the restaurant 2 weeks ago.
Get out of here.
All right, so you didn't hear the story. So Sarge was going on vacation, right? He was heading up through my way. He was going to New York and New Jersey, and he was like, "Hey, I want to stop." So sure, come on in. So he's just about there, and I sent him a text and I said, "Hey, I put a reservation in the book for you." It was him and his wife and his two kids. I said, "Hey, I put a reservation in the book. Just let him know what it is, and that you'll have a nice table ready." He said, "Okay." So he's like, "Oh, we're getting ready to walk in. What's the reservation under?" And I don't want to use his name online, but he said, "Is it under Bob?" I was like, "No, it's Wilford Brimley." He said, "No, what's the reservation under?" He said, "What's the reservation under?" I said, "Wilford Brimley." So basically, I scammed Sarge into going to our hostess and saying, "Reservation for 4 Brimley." They were like, "All right."
Yeah, I did.
So Wilford Brimley was in the restaurant 2 weeks ago. It was awesome.
Oddly enough, that's how I addressed your package. So it'll be there.
Oh, nice. This is a family show. I'd prefer you don't talk about my package. Okay. We got women and children watching. So what do you think? Should we do some trivia?
Let's do it.
All right. So basically what we're going to do, and we got a decent sized panel here now. We got like 6 of yins. 6 of y'alls.
6 of y'alls.
Y'alls is ins. Yeah. We're going to play a little bit of guns and food trivia. And basically just, I'll ask a question. Whoever says, you say your name or whatever you want to say first, if you want to say, Travis or Tar Dot or whatever you want to say, whoever gets that first, whoever I see pop up on there first, and answers it correctly, you get a point. Whoever gets the most points gets to choose the ingredient for my next food video within reason. We're not, you're not going to tell me to go find ostrich or something.
That can be making a grilled green pea sandwich.
Groundhog.
Right. Yeah. Right. So, it has to be within reason. We'll do this, and then C4 says Academy. Is it you're talking about? You want to do that next after this? We can.
It was just a friendly reminder. Just trying.
Yeah, absolutely. This won't take long either. I don't have a ton of questions. It's just kind of for fun. So, I'll ask the questions. You guys answer them. Yeah. Food and guns. All right. So, number 1, bouncing this fruit tells quality and ripeness. It's how they're sorted.
And oranges? Travis, oranges?
Nope, not oranges.
8 avocados?
Nope.
Sarge, watermelon.
Nope. But you bounce a watermelon?
Like you can bounce an avocado.
Cranberries.
Ape cranberries. That's right.
Absolutely right.
Damn.
Yep. They flood the bogs, they skim them, and they go up a conveyor belt and they drop them down, and they basically hit these little steps. And if they bounce high enough, they bounce over into and that's how they're sorted. Pretty cool. Pretty neat. All right.
Now this $1 color sorter.
That's true.
More.
So this past week, I was trolling Clover, if you can imagine that, on his show. I think it was Monday. And I was talking about a sauce. Okay. There are 5 mother sauces that you can turn into pretty much any other sauce that you want to. We've talked about them on the show. And I was trolling him on the channel about one of them. Name this mother sauce that begins with an onion piqué. If you were watching that show, you might remember him mispronounce it horribly about 4 times.
I remember it, but I don't remember the name. I remember you put it in the chat. Yeah.
Ketchup.
Ketchup now. All right. It is a bechamel. Basically, you take a bechamel. It's onion and clove. You scorch it. You add milk and you thicken it. That's a bechamel. And then you turn that into. You can add any kind of cheeses. You can add whatever. That's basically how you would make, any French cream sauce. You'd start it with that.
Tell me how I mispronounced it.
What's that?
Tell me
how did you pronounce it?
With an accent.
Big camel or something like that.
Big camel sauce, something like that. Yeah, it was pretty brittle. Big camel, yeah.
Camel.
And then
sauce.
somebody in the chat was like, "Big camel." Are you saying big camel? What are you saying? All right, here's one. That is not a word in the Texas vocabulary. Right. So I don't think anybody's going to get this one actually, but on Tuesday night on Big Gunner 81, another gun channel member, right? On Big Gunner 81's show Tuesday night, they had a discussion about a sandwich. What kind of sandwich was it?
Travis, hot dog sandwich?
It was a hot dog sandwich. Yes.
Oh, God. I just guessed.
You know why? Because I was trolling them, and I asked them if a hot dog is a sandwich or not, and it turned into a half-an-hour conversation on somebody's show that I've never been on.
Nice.
All right.
Rich, I think it was Rich or Roosted was in the chat, and I said, "Hey, Rich, watch this. You want to see me derail their show? Watch this." And 10 minutes later, they're arguing back and forth whether it's a sandwich or not. It was pretty funny. It was a proud moment of mine. All right. This type of blade gives more pressure to the point of a chef's knife or any knife when you're using it. We talk about different shapes of knives, different types of knives. This type of blade. A couple of different ways you can answer it.
Let's see. Travis, Santoku?
Yeah, Santoku blade. Or a drop point. Sometimes they call them a bird beak. Yeah, Santoku blade. That's actually my favorite type of knife.
Oh, yeah.
This wet food method or wet cooking method is used to slowly tenderize a normally tough cut of meat. Something we've talked about in the show a bunch of times.
Travis, slow cooker?
Sorta.
Ape.
That's more of a... Yeah, braising. Right. Ape. You're right with slow cooker. That's the instrument used, sort of.
Oh, because we say we slow cook it.
Yep. Yeah. Well,
awesome,
yep. Really. This cut is approximately 1/16 of an inch by 1/16 of an inch by 1 3/4 inches. What cut? What? What knife cut?
Ape. Was it Julian or Juliant?
Yeah.
That's it. Julianne. The wife out there says sous vide. Sous vide is...
That's where you put it in a plastic bag you suck all the air out of, and then it's not boil, but not boil.
Right. Yeah, it's at a low temperature, like 135. I was going to say that's not a wet cooking method, but it sort of is because
you can put marinade in with in the bag, and it'll kind of like a quick marinade.
Yep. Phoenix says at that size, it's called a nibble. That's right.
No, it's called a bite size or a fun size.
Corn niblets. Yeah, fun size. There you go. Okay, here's a gun question. A flattened or smashed primer is a common sign of what?
Ape, high pressure.
Yep, high pressure. I would have also taken bad head spacing.
Or a soft primer.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure, you bet you. Idiot reloader, says Clover Tack. Not necessarily. I've had some factory ammunition where that primer will flatten out on some 300 blackouts, but it's crap ammunition, so.
When shooting, while shooting, or when shooting extreme uphill or downhill shots, you should do what?
Travis, aim for the horizon.
Are you trying to shoot the horizon?
Well, because I'm thinking of drop, like you're going to shoot into the hill. I know they tell you not to shoot over the horizon because of what's on the other side. We've had this. I've heard this before.
The Earth is flat, so it don't matter. Next, somebody else want to try?
When shooting, compensate your aim.
Right. Okay. So, in what way?
Adjust for elevation.
That's too generic.
I don't know. Adjust your aim up.
Nope. If it ain't up,
down. Hey, adjust your aim down.
There you go. Sarge, yes. Whenever you're shooting extreme high or low, you aim under because the gravity doesn't affect the projectile as much. The wife says, lick your finger and hold it up in the air. What's that?
Phoenix says fire for effect.
Yeah.
Well, Phoenix, if you will give me back my 60mm mortar tube, we could.
Oh, fancy pants.
Yeah.
Next one. How many lugs are on an AR bolt? Bolt face. Bolt.
Oh,
10.
How many lugs?
Roll call. 10.
10.
I said 10.
Ape 7.
Wasn't like guessing.
There you go. This one I remember. This one was a Daily Gun Show question at one point, I believe. What is the longest serving military shoulder weapon in the world or in history? The longest serving military shoulder fired weapon.
Ape, what is the Gustav recoilless rifle?
Nope.
Damn it.
Damn it indeed. Clover says high point. You get it.
I was going to say, it's probably the M1, what Phoenix said.
You said world history, right?
Yep.
What is the Mosin Nagant?
That's a good question. That's a good one, but no.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It is the British Brown Bess. It's a 75 caliber flintlock, and it was in service for over 100 years, from the very early 1700s until approximately 1815. Yeah. Okay, Sarge, you've got a little help with this one here. When Sarge's show last night, the military is considering a new caliber for infantry rifles. What is the bullet's diameter?
6.8.
All right.
I was awake for that part when Boom was talking about it.
6.8 just won't die.
I know, right? And what's weird about it is they're not talking about using the 6.8 SPC or whatever is already available. They're talking about making a new round.
We want the 6.8 Blackout and the 6.8 Creedmoor.
Something, yeah. Yeah, the 6.5 is not good enough.
Go left.
There's 0.3, Okay. This is specific to mine, and we've talked about this on the show, too, because it's one of my favorite rifles. My 8mm, the G9840, is not technically a Mauser action. What is it? I'll give you a hint if you need one. Anybody know right off the bat?
Travis, car K98?
No. No, what type of action is it?
Oh, okay.
It's a bolt action, but
Bolt
what is
action.
it, it's not right. It's not a Mauser style action. It's actually something else. The hint is it's also a type of stock too.
Ape, what is a Monte Carlo?
Nope. Close. Good idea though. Answer? Man liquor. It's a man liquor stock. If you've ever seen a
if you would have just said it's what you do on your off nights, we would have gotten it right.
Yeah, see, I didn't want to give anything too easy.
Like yourself?
That's right.
Ooh.
I'm not cheap, but I'm easy. It's a Hungarian rifle. Generally, Mannlicher and Schonauer. Schonauer worked for what is now Steyr. And one of the biggest differences between that and they're both control feed systems, both really, really strong actions, really well built. One of the biggest things and what's really kind of cool about this action versus the Mauser is if you look at a Mauser action, the bolt is behind, it's in the back. If you look at mine, the receiver is actually, or the bolt, the receiver, I guess, is actually split. And what happens is the bolt comes up when you charge it and it comes through the back of the action. And then, you chamber the next round. So that bolt is actually held in, the bolt handle is actually butts up against the receiver. It's actually against another piece of metal. And it was built that way as a secondary, as a safety in case you would have a broken lug or something would happen to the bolt face. When the round went off, it wouldn't just throw the bolt back in your face. The charging handle would be stopped by the rest of the bolt. So it's like an emergency lug. It's like an e-brake for your bolt action. Pretty cool. Really neat. Okay. This high temperature cooking method translates to jump. Cooking method.
Travis, to broil?
Nope.
Okay.
Ape, to sear?
Close.
Saute.
That's it. Saute.
Oh.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it translates to French.
Nice.
To jump.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Anybody that watches the show will know this one. What do the ladies love?
Green stuff.
Green stuff.
That's it.
5s and 10s, mostly in 20s.
I thought it was just like whole half a cabbage.
The more zeros, the better.
That's right.
But they can't be on the right side of the decimal point. They get real pissed when you do that. Or on the left side.
Yeah. I guess if it's a dime, that's a 1 and a 0. They're not real hot on those either.
No.
All right. Reloading
question. Throw them at them.
A little bit of a reloading question. There's generally 3 shapes of gunpowder. What are they?
Ape, ball, stick, and flake.
You got it. Spherical also would work.
Yeah. You got to use smaller worlds for some of our listeners. Spherical?
Pink Panther says, girls I know like dollars, like the $1 bills.
Yes, but there's an apostrophe, or there's a S in there making them plural. So give them just $1, they get quite pissed.
Yeah, I guess if it's a big stack, that's okay. The best way. Oh, I'm sorry, skipped one. The me-plat is this part of the bullet.
Ape, what is the, I don't know, what do you call it, the tip or the front end?
Yeah, we'll take that.
Just the tip.
We'll take that too. There are 7,000 of these in a pound.
Ape, grains.
Damn, this banana muncher's running away with it.
Yeah, I'm not banana munching. I'm dark sour drinking.
Well, some of those weren't even words, I don't think. So
here, this is what I'm drinking. Here's a regular can.
Oh, it's a
750.
That's an ape-size can right there.
Yes, for my lovely lady fingers.
A smoked jalapeno is also called what?
Travis, Chipotle.
You know it. I emailed G-Webs a screenshot to make a patch. What was it of?
Travis, bacon pancakes.
I'm baking pancakes, making bacon pancakes.
Still that song stuck in my head.
Pancake.
That's what I like.
I sing when I make pancakes for my son. We sing that song. He does a little dance, and then we do the bacon pancakes. He points up. It's really funny. Powdered sugar has this in it to keep it from clumping.
Ape, cornstarch.
God damn it, Ape! What don't you know about food? This guy's been
he his bullets. So yeah.
What? I was looking at it for making hard cider.
Oh yeah.
I figured it's a little easier to dissolve it, but that cornstarch in there, figured it probably wouldn't be very good.
Ape's making white lightning out of bananas.
You know what? I was going to go to the liquor store today and see if I couldn't find any red stripe.
Next one. We got a couple left here. Ape, Travis, you better get all these right. You still won't win. So
thanks, man. I can yeah.
Yeah. Wait. You could tie it up if you win them all.
Yay!
Nori is used with this type of food.
Ape, sushi.
Well, you're all screwed now.
Oh well. And not in a fun way.
All right. This person was known to stop unannounced into his restaurants and suspend or fire managers if the food wasn't to his standards.
Travis, Gordon Ramsay.
Nope.
Oh.
I mean, possibly. I guess there could probably be a million answers to this, but
Gizzard, Wolfgang Puck.
Nope. It's gonna surprise you, actually.
Elton Brown.
Critic.
Dave from Wendy's.
Gizzard, Ray Kroc.
Oh, Colonel Sanders.
Colonel Sanders.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
He's ruthless, man. Ruthless.
Well, he'd take away the pressure cookers. That's what he'd do.
Yep. He actually, he made them. He gave them the ability to do the stuff, but if it wasn't up to his standards, he would yank the equipment. Yeah, he was.
Nowadays, that would get you 5 to 10 and a sexual harassment suit.
Yeah. I guess it depends. Depends on where you are and whose equipment.
I think it's a health inspector thing at that point if you're doing it in the kitchen.
Yeah, probably. Okay, Duncan Hines, the cake guy, right? Duncan Hines wrote a roadside guide of this to help travelers.
Oh, Travis, a guide to diners on the highway?
Yep. Yep. Back in the day when they first started building roads that would cross the country, when that became, popular, when the roads got better and more people were doing it. I don't
want to freak you out with that. That's the book right there.
Food nerd.
Now my wife has a bunch of old cookbooks, and so it's Adventure in Good Eating, a Duncan Hines book.
Yep.
Darn, I'm probably the only one here with sinking Burma shave signs.
Next question, I got two more. The Crazy Scotsman's favorite late night snack.
Travis, IPA.
Oh.
Oh, okay. That's what. Does he actually eat some?
Ape, Scott.
During those shows,
No, this is a bullshit question. I just want somebody to say the answer that I want him to say. Haggis. You got it.
I thought his favorite meal was freedom.
It might be. Probably all those answers were right.
Freedom Flakes, now with 10% more freedom.
Last question. The seeds of this fruit contain a small amount of arsenic.
Oh, I know this.
Apricot.
Grapes.
Peach.
Nope.
Apples.
You got it.
Yeah,
Apples.
that's right. That's right.
Apples and banana.
Apples and bananas. That was fun. I like that. Ape, you get to pick a food, and I think I know what it's going to be.
Rat.
Bananas.
Rat.
Squirrel.
What? No.
Say it. Go ahead.
Goat.
Corn beef.
That's right. I knew it. You got it, buddy. My next video will be Reuben.
Hot damn. About time. Now I just need to get the airfare to come over to Pennsylvania.
You just had to prove yourself worthy.
Oh, right. I thought I did that by being the best discount John Z available for under $5.
Yeah, under $0. In fact, that's even better.
Mm-hmm.
So perfect.
That's messed up. You haven't even made him a sandwich yet, and send it to him. Man, that's wrong.
Yeah, you can freeze
here's an old dirty sandwich. I hope you like it.
How about a greasy vacuum sandwich in a dirty ashtray?
An old dirty sandwich. Congratulations. All right. So here's one of the last things I had planned tonight was to talk about devil's advocacy, right? Every once in a while on the show, I like to play devil's advocate. I think it's fun to do, but it's also, I think, a really good thing to do to kind of learn the other side's point of views. And, it's good to learn how to not argue, but debate, right? And one of the things, if you haven't watched it, a really interesting watch is a video that G put out the other day of a segment of Dead Horses Chat. And they were talking about Freedom Group. And it was really interesting. I actually listened to it twice because it was really interesting. And G was spitting hot fire for a couple of minutes, but they were basically sort of talking shit about Freedom Group, which a lot of people do. And I understand because a lot of people don't think the quality is there like it used to be with some of the companies. G's argument or G's defense of Freedom Group was, and he looked up the internet, he looked up some stuff, he looked who, they were in trouble monetarily and all this kind of stuff when you're talking about Remington. And basically said, you guys are thinking about it a little bit wrong. Don't you think it's great that a group would buy an American company and try and keep that American company in business? And it was really interesting. So, started devil's advocate, right? A little bit. And it got me thinking about devil's advocate with something else. That's what I want to talk about. So go watch that video. It's really cool. Look it up. It's on gun websites. I wanted to play devil's advocate a little bit with Academy Sports. With Academy, now I did hear recently that they may have. Did they rehire the manager that they fired? Did anybody else hear that, or was that fake news?
I don't know.
I heard it on someone's chat, but I can't remember.
All right, so it could be fake news. I don't really even care, honestly. It doesn't really matter to this discussion. We can talk about it either way. So, basically, guy walked in with intentions of stealing a gun and ammunition. He grabbed it, and Clover said they rehired him. Okay. Doesn't really matter to me because I'd like to talk about it either way.
They probably only rehired under pressure.
Right, for sure. So the guy in the back yelled, "Hey, stop that guy." Manager tackled him. Police came. They arrested him. He admitted that he was stealing the gun to commit a murder. When he got out, he would do it again. It was crazy. And the judge actually let him off on like $5,000 or $50,000 bail or whatever. You only need 10%. He basically posted a $500 bail and was released. A self-proclaimed murderer. Basically, he was going to kill somebody, which that's a whole separate thing. It's crazy. My whole thing with this is they originally, now that we know that, fired the manager for intervening. Just as if you ever seen, it has happened with bank robberies too. If somebody comes in to rob a bank, they basically, the employees are taught, give them the money. Give them the money, don't fight, and, get it over with. Hopefully don't escalate the situation, and we'll all live to see another day. The money is insured, and obviously this isn't the exactly the same situation, because this guy was stealing a weapon to kill somebody with, so the stakes were definitely amped up. But if you as a oh shit, I was reading the chat and I lost my train of thought. Son of a bitch, I hate when I do that. I need to stop reading the chat. As a bank employee,
we all know you can't.
If you try and fight back and you're fired because you go against policy, what do you guys think about this whole situation? You want to play devil? I'm playing devil's advocate here a little bit, where they had the policy that you do not stop somebody that is shoplifting or committing a crime because you don't want the the situation escalated. In theory, unfortunately, he was going to escalate the situation a great deal by murdering somebody. So,
like most kind of things, it falls to who knew what and when did they know it. Did this guy know for certain that this guy, he's going to go out and try and kill someone, other than, this guy just wants to, or is just stealing it to steal it?
Right.
Well, thoughts on that? Or someone that's stealing a gun can't buy a gun. So there was some ill intent there.
And the big thing is when you start talking about, because you're referring, this situation, you're referring to it being a manager. Most businesses are going to have, like I've talked about before with me doing retail security, most businesses have people specifically for that situation. Now, I couldn't speak on every company's policies, but most, if not all, are going to tell you if they got a gun, you back off. Especially if they also have taken ammo or they got ammo. Don't mess with it.
Yep. And Clover's saying the same exact thing that all of us are saying. And it's the same thing I believe too. He says, what if they let him go? He went around the corner, loaded it, and came back and, robbed the place. And that's what we said in the pre-chat. It was Sarge said, he said, what if he, loaded it, came back in, and he said, okay, I got one gun. Now I want all the other ones and the money too. Or opened fire or did whatever.
Well, now let me put it to you this way too, because like I said, with me doing that previously, I'll flat out say retail, like I said, they usually have a no
confrontation.
No confrontation policy. I mean, obviously, as asset protection, loss prevention, whatever you want to call it, we're going to walk up and confront the person, talk to them, try to talk them back in, de-escalate the situation, bring them back in that way. But there are a large portion of us. I always said it when I was working for the company that shall not be named. When I was working for them, I'd always made the comment as asset protection that, if it's something where there could be somebody's life in danger or there's definitely a threat there, I'm going to do what I can to stop it from happening. If I get fired for doing it because, somebody's possibly going to be stabbed, shot, something like that, but I went in and I just went ahead and stopped it. I was able to, and I did it, and I get fired, so be it. I'm going to do what I got to do to help protect somebody's life. So, that's the perspective that a lot of employees would have in that position, that, if I've got to save somebody's life, I'm going to do it. If I lose my job, I'll lose my job. So be it. I can find another one.
For sure. I don't know if they knew he was stealing a gun though either. Do we know? I mean, I read some stuff on it, but I couldn't get the information on if they knew he was stealing a gun or if it was just.
The article I just read said he asked to look at it from behind the counter, and then he ran out the door with it.
Right, but that guy, yelled to somebody at the front and said, "Stop that guy." I don't know if he said, "Stop that guy, he stole a gun," or if he just said, "Stop that guy." I don't really know. But yeah, it's just an interesting, kind of thing to talk about where, if it's in a different, like we talked about it being in a bank where, a guy comes in with a gun and there's a concealed carrier in there too. It's, if you carry a gun, it's not always best to pull the gun either. There's situations where you don't want to escalate the situation, I'm sure. But as an employee, you're not allowed to carry. So that's kind of, I guess that's a little bit of a moot point. I don't know. Clover says radio call from back to front could happen before he got to the doors. Pretty good hike in the academy, even at a run.
And there's a big thing that I did see come up in the chat too, and that's the major part of it. Is the policy. I mean, most of these employees are going to know what's going to happen to them if they go against that. Now, the one defense I would give to that manager possibly, and I've realized it with the company I was working for and other companies I've seen, is when you start talking about training, the only training that anybody else in the store would get in reference to a shoplifting, shootings have become a little more prevalent in training. They've got, a lot more training out there for the retail environment when it comes to shootings. But when you start talking about shoplifters, just in general, this guy taking a gun, whatever, the only training they have is that they shouldn't step in that, and obviously with this person being a manager, it's supposed to be a manager or asset protection personnel. Well, when you start talking about managers, because their job doesn't hinge on confronting these people, making stops with shoplifters, they don't get the type of training that an asset protection person would. So, their assumption is going to be, well, I'm just going to, and I've seen it several times, I'm just going to take them to the ground and drag them in by their feet. That's just how it's going to go. Regardless if they're stealing a gun, ammo, knife, or just, a loaf of bread, they're going to drag them in by their ankles. They don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I don't know. It's super interesting to talk about both sides of it, and I guess we don't really know that if the guy knew what he was stealing, but also if somebody yells it would be instinct kind of, I would think, if you're in a place of business and somebody yells at you, "Stop that guy," you're going to probably, either you're the type of person that's going to do it or not. I don't think you really think about it. I don't think, he's obviously the type of person that would do it. I highly doubt they said, "Stop that guy," and he thought, I don't know, man, if I stop him, I might get fired. He's the type of dude that's a do it or don't do it kind of dude,
And that's usually the people when it comes to the asset protection side that they look for to hire to a point. I mean, obviously you don't want a lawsuit on your hands, but I was talking a little bit about it in the pre-chat. When I got hired in, there were policies in there that a lot of us broke that the company kind of looked over until they started seeing where there was an issue, that they started having lawsuits. Then they started pushing us real hard on, no physical contact, things like that.
Right.
But yeah, they look for the person that's going to kind of be that alpha male or female, because there are plenty of females that have done it too. Because if you got to think about it, you got your whole point is to step up there and tell them what they did and tell them, hey, get your ass back inside, more or less. Mm-hmm. Obviously you want to keep it de-escalated, but that's your whole position. So, you're waiting for something to happen, more or less. We get training on watching just the reactions of people as we're talking to them. And I mean, to this day, when I've had to deal with it, I can go up and I can tell the second somebody's even thinking about running. You usually get like a little dart back and forth. They kind of start watching around them. They don't look at you while you're talking to them. That's immediately a sign they're taking off. And a lot of people, that reaction, instead of having the reaction of trying to say, "Hey man, I know what you're thinking about, don't take off, don't run, just come with me," instead of doing that, their whole thought is, I'm gonna take them down right now before they even have the chance. So there's a whole lot of stuff to it. When you start looking at if this guy did the right thing or the wrong thing, it's all an adrenaline rush, and it's all on how you handle it. You couldn't really say he did the right or wrong thing. You can, he was planning on going and killing somebody. Like somebody said, he could have very well walked right back in the building with the gun, and that could have been going through that manager's mind as, I don't know if he's going to come back in and try to kill us all. But like it was said in the chat, policy is the policy. You know, you kind of would have to take a roll of dice and take your chance. A lot of stores that are in bad areas, that's why you started seeing cops always in the stores. I know a lot of Walmarts and Targets do it. If they're in a bad area, they'll throw a cop at the door, is because you'll have those situations where somebody has a weapon and they don't want their employees having to deal with it. They'd rather have somebody with a gun dealing with it. So, yeah, it's always one of those things. If the person has a weapon, you're told, and you should notify. You should be calling the cops before you ever even have a chance to confront them. So that way, there's the opportunity of, as they're getting outside, getting into the parking lot, you've got police presence on site, and you're not having to put yourself in danger, unarmed, trying to deal with that.
Right. Yeah.
Howdy, folks.
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
Not a thing. Tardot, I didn't know you did store security.
Yeah, where you been?
Oh, I did it for years.
You living under a rock?
Well, I've done security for years. Never actually stuff like that.
I've managed several stores when it comes to security.
I did security work for about 12 damn years. And you're right. The first priority is always to de-escalate.
I don't know whether this guy knew that this guy was still in the gun, so I just kind of assumed that he did, because, I mean, to tackle somebody like that, that's a pretty drastic move. I mean, he wouldn't do that for a backpack or a tent or something like that. And I would say he felt like just this has to be done right now. I mean, you don't have a choice, and you don't have a lot of time to think about it either.
Well, then that's the thing. Like, we don't. I think a lot of it has to do with what type of person that dude is too, the manager or whatever. Because I mean, you get if he happened to be, I mean, he was working in Academy Sports, right? I mean, you never know. He's an outdoors guy. Maybe he's former military. Maybe he was a, linebacker. He was a defensive lineman or something. And somebody screamed at him, "Stop that guy!" And he just flipped back into, I'm 18 years old in high school, and he just speared the dude. He
may have seen it in his hand.
And you got to come to the thing too, where I'm willing to bet he probably to some extent knew that there was a gun. Now, when the person called it out over the radio, for instance, did they shout out, "Hey, he's got a gun"? And so this guy, this manager's immediate thought is, he's got a loaded weapon, he's about to, attack, or is it he's stealing a gun? Because I can guarantee you, they probably just shouted, "He's got a gun." I used to get bad calls like that all the time, where they would just say, "Oh, he's got a weapon," and they've got a stuffed animal. Something like that.
Yeah. Because honestly, if somebody's running, you think about it. Nowadays, there's been, the shootings are so much in the media. It's such a common thing to hear about shootings now. Somebody yells "gun" or "he's got a gun." Are you going to fight or flight? Like, the first thing, you're not going to attack necessarily either. I mean, if somebody says "gun" or whatever, you're going to get down, you're going to drop, you're going to maybe.
It all depends on your proximity.
Yeah.
What if you're there at the register and you're standing there talking to the cashier, and this guy's coming right by you and you're close? I mean, if you're close, you're better off to close the distance than to try to make distance.
And really, when we used to actually physically bring people back in, it was always the element of surprise. I could, beforehand, I could determine whether or not they were probably going to run. And we used to have one person going up to do the confrontation and the other one kind of coming up. They were there to be a witness to it, but they were coming up a little slower, so that way if that person bolted, you've got somebody to go right after them.
Yeah, and they're not paying attention to that cover guy either.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a proven technique.
Yeah. So, there's a lot that we don't know. I understand that. And, to come back to the very basic, one of I think the basic point that people are upset about is the fact that they felt they needed to fire him or suspend him and then fire him for a breach of policy. And there's so many things that factor into that for us, but not a corporation. You did something you're not supposed to do. Sorry, we're letting you go. you know, and now they've obviously gone back on it probably because they realize what's going to happen to their business. They don't want to deal with it, with all the people, you know, that are up in arms about it. But, you know,
one of two things happened with him being rehired. And I put it in the chat there that managers always follow policy and leaders always do the right thing. So either management above him followed policy. When he broke it, they put down the order to fire him and may have fired him. And it may have got to a higher level that one guy's like, no, he did the right thing. He stopped a potentially bad situation and we're giving him his job back. Or it was the political pressure, or not the political pressure, but the pressure in the media that it bad press. So I don't know which one, but I mean, that's the thing. People break policy all the time. Little policies. I mean, you know that little policies get broken constantly. So what value, what weight do you put on that? So, you know, they may have run into a leader that made the decision. No, he gets his job back. He did the right thing. I don't know which.
Yeah.
Well, and it comes down to, like I was talking about in the pre-chat too, a little bit about a lot of companies have started adopting the policy of, you know, you do what you've got to do. And, you know, if you see something more, and like we were saying, we all weren't there. We don't know all of the specifics with that situation. If this guy thought that he had a gun and that the only thing to do to be able to save his life and others was to take this guy down, that's what you got to do. I mean, it's what you got to do to get out of that situation. That's a lot of companies have started adopting that.
The opportunity may have been there just to waylay him and stop him, and that's the end of it. It just may have been there, and he took it. Because that's the other thing. Let's talk about making decisions. I was in a class, and they said the best decision to make is the right decision. The second best decision to make is the wrong decision, and the worst decision to make is not one at all. Just to stand there and let it happen. So he acted, he saw something, he acted, and he took care of it. And I don't think we should be
which in turn is a good sign of having a manager. If a manager can't make a split second decision, there's no point in them being a manager.
Yeah, that's just a manager. That's not a leader. A leader took charge like that guy did. So.
Yeah, I'll let you know about company policy here in a couple days. I'm going through the same thing with my job, and I'll probably be jobless here in the next couple of weeks. So I'll let you know how this corporate policy thing works when they explain it to me.
Don't do it. Roll with the flow till you get a new boss.
There's nothing you can do. I mean, you know, being in a corporate environment is different than working for a mom and pop or a real small corporation. And you know, you can draw a fine line between what you're doing and if it's detrimental to the company or not. But I mean, it all depends on what you're on what the situation is. My situation is way different, so I'll let you know how the corporate policy works out, and then I'll explain the whole kit and caboodle about it. But I mean, what it comes down with this guy is, are you going to be moral, and are you going to actually, you know, stop someone from killing someone? Or is this company just going to, you know, let a gun walk out the door and possibly, you know, have an incident happen with it?
Well, and then what Sarge said is exactly right. There's probably somebody that made the decision based just off the policy, because that policy is there also to save lives. Because when it comes down to managers or asset protection, loss prevention, anybody who's going to be stopping shoplifters, anything like that, regardless of what the item is, the second we make that decision to get physical with that person, you may have a surprise weapon that you didn't know they had. If we're chasing them out in the parking lot, we've had, when I worked at the previous company, we had people run out in the parking lot chasing down shoplifters and get hit by a car because they didn't know that the person had a car waiting for them. And so, you know, it's just that it's there. Those policies are there to save lives. And so making that decision to fire the manager wasn't necessarily a bad decision. It was maybe the wrong decision, but just it wasn't a bad decision. They were just going by policy.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I wanted this to go, was the fact that the corporation has to follow their policy, whether you like it or not. Now, somebody in the chat said fire him and then rehire him. And I think that's, you know, and it's funny because it's almost like a, you know, not a get out of free, not a get out of jail free card, but like, it's like, well, we fired him, but nothing says you can't rehire a fired employee, right? So, yeah, it's you know, I think that's probably the way they had to look at it after the fact. Was like, man, everybody's gonna think we're the biggest dirtbags on the planet because we fired this hero. We better do something about this shit quick, you know. But you know what? But what Tardot said was absolutely right. And it's like back to the bank, you know, and there's been instances where a teller has grabbed a hold of the knife that the bank robber had or something like that, and you know, got it away, and they fired him because that's not what they want them to do. They want them to just cough up the money and get him out of the damn bank. So
yeah, but and they can fire him. They have that right. But was that teller defending the bank's money, which they have no stake in, or do they think they were that person was about to end their life or hurt them really bad?
No, I don't. Yeah, I mean, it's a
fire either way.
It's a situation to situation thing. Yeah, I mean, you know, unless we actually look one up, and even then, you never really know. I mean, I guess you could give somebody the money and they could still take a swipe at somebody and kill them, right? You know, and that's one of the things that's the roll of the dice in something like this is, you know, somebody goes into a bank and says, "Give me the money," and they give them the money and they still take a shot at somebody and shoot and kill them. I mean, they just because that's the kind of psychopath they are. But no, that was pretty much how I wanted that segment to go. I just wanted to bring it up and sort of look at it from a bunch of different sides and get some people's opinions that were in the industry, and Sarge is in law enforcement. So that was why I specifically asked if those guys were going to be available tonight. So I appreciate that. So do we want to, is there anything else anything else going on in the news, anything else in the world today? Anybody else want to talk about anything? Outlaw, you're new into the chat. Anything going on with you? You were camping.
Yeah, I went camping. I had a blast too, man. Did some fishing. Yeah. I wish I had a better signal so I could have got more footage, but you know.
That's all right.
It kept cutting in and out on me and this and it's just annoying out there.
Trying to throwing the fish back in the water. I don't understand that. What's the point of fishing if you're just going to throw them back in the water?
To let them get bigger and catch them again later.
There you go.
But then you're just going to let them go.
Exactly.
And then they'll die, or then they'll rot.
No. Hopefully, when they get up around that 185-pound mark, that's when I'll catch them again. and
when they get up to that 185-pound mark, they'll be eating you.
Well, that's the one I'm looking for. That world record catfish.
There you go. You got to come up to the Bass Pro Shop by me. They got a big ass channel cat in there. Thing's monstrous.
Well, they got one up here too in Savannah, and I if I had to guess, I'd say that thing has to weigh 80, 90 pounds. It's huge.
That's how this one is too. Yeah, this one's monstrous. Yeah.
People like catfish don't get that big.
They get really big. Yeah, they get huge.
They get really big.
Yeah, you start to figure that the world record blue catfish is something like 187 pounds.
Yeah.
The world record flathead is like 163. And channel cat's probably 87, 88 pounds.
I don't know. This one's pretty big. I mean, it's just like a lot of other. I mean, fish are gonna, for the most part, they're gonna grow to the size that their environment allows. You know what I mean? So when you start getting into these really deep waters, man, they hold some big fish. Yeah.
There are 200+ pound catfish in the United States. Nobody's landed one yet. Eventually, it's going to happen.
Yeah, I believe that. I don't think that's a lie. I believe that. There's some big fish out there, man. I mean, same thing with like when you see some of the predatory fish, like we start talking about like muskie. Muskies get huge, man. Those things are like freaking dinosaurs.
And mean. Those things are vicious.
Yeah. Yeah, they're super, super aggressive. It's crazy. You go on and watch some videos on them where people are just, you know, at a lake, just not even fishing, but they just might be at a lake, you know, taking some video or like at a family event or something. And you'll see them. I've seen them where they'll chase stuff up on shore. They'll actually chase stuff out of the water. Like if there's a frog in the very edge of the water, they'll come up out of the water and grab it. Scary, like a crocodile. It's like Crocodile Dundee stuff, man. It's nuts.
The first time I seen a muskie lure, I was in shock because that thing was huge. It was about 12 inches long with 6 sets of treble hooks on it. I'm like, holy shit, what the hell you catch with that? He's like, that's a muskie lure. That's what we use to catch muskie. I was like, they get that big? He says, yeah.
It's like
things are huge.
Throwing an old tackle box out there. Vanessa said she saw a 404-pound halibut. That's a big halibut because they're not super thick. They're a thinner fish. They lay on the bottom.
But yeah, I had a blast, dude. That was the catfish I caught on camera. Was the only catfish I caught. Everything else was just small stuff. So at least I got the one.
Yeah.
As long as I don't get skunked, I'm happy.
Yeah, even if you do, who cares, man? That's not what it's all. You know what I mean? There's way worse things in the world than going to camping and fishing and not catching anything. You know?
No, yeah. Going to work's a lot.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Even a good day at work is better than a bad day of fishing.
Yeah.
Well, I had that backwards.
Yeah. I was gonna let that one go for once, and
we figured you were just.
Did he say what
I called it myself? I was like, wait a minute, don't have shit back.
Well, I'm just figuring that Ellis was bucking for promotion to get to a senior dishwasher instead of a level grade 2 dishwasher.
Yeah.
More hours less pay.
You want to go fishing? No, I got to go to work and have a miserable time. Thanks.
Looking for another job. Ellis is trying to get the hell out of there.
Well, you like fishing, you go freeze your ass off in Alaska on a boat.
Oh. Actually, I have put in a application for the South Carolina Game and Fish Division, Parks or Recreation. So, see how that goes.
My
Parks and Rec.
my grandfather's uncle was a game warden, I think it was.
Hey, I don't care if it's a maintenance position, I would take it. Mainly for the benefits.
Well, here's why the lift pump went out. This damn squirrel got nice and crispy on the transformer. Crunch. Not too long ago either. It's still pretty fresh.
I bet it was Megatron. That's the transformer that did it right there.
They'll start figuring out the pattern that, a lot of squirrels are getting fried on these lift pump transformers. Oh, Ellis has been doing that. Ellis, have you been forgetting your lunch at home? Yes.
Mia says
there's nothing wrong with eating squirrel, okay?
Yeah,
and that way they're just pre-cooked.
Tastes just like chicken.
No, they do not.
According to the cannibal.
They're seasonal. Mia says those are seasonal jobs. Not necessarily. I mean, you think about it. Maintenance needs to be done around lakes and in places like that year round.
You got to remember, I'm in South Carolina, so the season is 12 months a year.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
Trust me, if they're paying you money, they're going to find your ass work. One day it's going to be, hey, we're going to be dredging all this algae out of this lake here, and if it's 40 below, this froze up, or we need you to shovel off these emergency routes.
Yeah.
So, apparently that campsite has people there all year round. Some of them actually live there.
And George says squid. I'm not sure why he's got a picture of a squid, but you do.
Well, Ellis's new address is going to be Fire Watchtower 437, and we're not going to hear from him for the next 20 years.
That'd be fine. Ain't nobody miss me.
Oh, I think Night Strike will miss having your trailer to live in.
That was wrong.
He had nothing to say. He's like,
that was just fucking wrong.
You're right. It was wrong. He's gonna miss having your bed to live under.
Calling the poor guy a troll. Jeez.
Hey, I didn't say it was a troll. It's just their relationship. It's how they worked out on floor sharing arrangement. I'm just saying it is. Now, trolls do not live under beds. That'd be more of a generic bedtime monster. Now, if Ellis had, say, a bridge coming out of the trailer park, and Night Strike lived under it.
All right, I can see that. That's all right.
Ellis just wants to noodle a catfish.
No, Ellis will never noodle a catfish.
He missed. That's a typo too. It's supposed to say canoodle. Outhouse just wants to canoodle a catfish.
No,
different.
Yeah, there's another job they can have for them year round. Hey, this outhouse is full. Suck the shit out of it, but it's frozen. Well, that's your problem.
Man, if you ain't gone noodling, you got to try it at least once.
Canoodling?
No, noodle. Noodling.
Gunpowder.
Leave the canoodling alone. Hey.
Gunpowder.
Yes.
You do realize other things other than catfish climb up in them holes, right?
Yeah.
You stick your hand down in there, and there's a snapping turtle. Yeah, you come back missing, 4 fingers and part of a thumb.
Vanessa Kitty.
Fingers are overrated.
Fingers are replaceable. Well, Ellis, they make those fancy chainmail titanium gauntlets you can get for meat, or those knife-resistant Kevlar ones. Just put that on your hand and put it in there, and if it takes off a finger, bring it back to Bass Pro Shop. Say, hey, this is shit. Give me my money back.
That's what they do. Yeah,
it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to pull a trigger with missing fingers.
Well, start with your middle finger. You should be excellent with extending that.
Yeah.
Why is it called finger in the catfish? Because that's the wrong end of the catfish, Vanessa.
Lord have mercy.
Indeed. All right.
You'd expect nothing less from us.
Anybody have anything else? Anybody have anything else pertinent to life, or we're gonna shut it down?
Well, how about this, ladies and gentlemen? I am up to $215 in the buy Night Strike a concealed carry gun at this point. If anybody out there would like to, if anybody would like to donate a few dollars to this fund, it's my PayPal at ellishatfield@gmail.com. 5, 10, whatever you can afford. He wants a different carry gun. He's figuring that 1911 probably a little too big to carry around on a daily basis for him. So
he needs something hobbit sized.
Like
I hope this wasn't a surprise.
Well, he was talking to me today, and we was discussing a Ruger LC9. He was talking about the SAR B6B compact. So
the EC9's pretty good for that.
Yeah,
price.
the EC9's a good one too.
Yeah, I mean, it's especially since the EC9, you lose the adjustable sights and stuff, but it's a carry gun. That's a big deal. You know what I mean? You're not going to be who the hell adjust sights anyway. 9 times out of 10.
Well, he could always brown nose get a mini revolver.
He could get 2. Yeah. Oh yeah. C4. He said out there. I was going to say he could get 2 high points and a box of ammo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
So he's going to pick up the high point and throw the ammo.
The idea is to go low weight, not more weight.
He could carry 2, 1 on each hip, right? 1 on each side. He looked like modern day cowboy.
Yeah, you can get that compensated 380 high point because it's the most powerful autoloader. What, 380 is the biggest number?
Yeah, this is true.
380. Yeah, that's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In an autoloader, I mean, 460 is clearly bigger than 380, but that's not a thing.
Right. It's way bigger than 50.
Just go to send money, and it's ellishatfield@gmail.com. Finally, real simple. But yeah, if anybody like to donate a few dollars to get Night Striker carry gun, PayPal ellishatfield@gmail.com, and I will see that he gets it. In fact, I'm giving it about another week and a half, and I'm shipping him whatever I've got. So right now we're at $215.
Well, now
get him a G42.
Well, that would require Ellis to actually touch or be in the presence of a Glock. He'll melt. He'll explode. Then he'll never get the DMR.
Okay, it'll be fine.
Give him a CZ.
Hit something.
Well, now here, if you
CZ. How about that?
Well, I'm thinking we're forgetting the main thing about the high points is that you can order them from High Point and get the hydro dip with just blue dresses.
Ooh, so good.
Did you just mess your pants there a little?
That's such a good idea.
Fine. Let me explain this to you. The idea behind this whole thing is to get him a gun that weighs less than a 1911, not one that weighs as much as an Oldsmobile.
Well,
then we'd all have.
Then who else can you get the factory hydro dipping in the blue dress pattern?
See, and then the week after he gives him that, we'd have to be talking about the news. We'd hear like redneck beats redneck cousin to death with hideous High Point. We'd have to be all talking about that, and that's no good for nobody.
He won't beat him to death. He'll just do one of those things where he'll just slide out from under his bed while no visible means and go, "You son of a bitch."
Gizzard's trying to get him. Gizzard said it 3 times.
Shall not be infringed. Shall not be infringed. Shall not be infringed.
No fringes.
Night Strike does not like fringes.
Whose show was that? Whose show was that?
Was it Scott's? It was Scott's.
Somebody was asking. They said, say it. He's like, say what? They're like,
it was me last night.
Was that you?
Just say it.
Like,
he was just saying everything but that.
I was like, what do you mean, say what?
Hey, Ellis.
Yes, sir.
Phoenix wanted me to tell you Taurus G2C 12+1 of 9mm for $200.
There you go, man. That's what. That's a nice gun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
it's pretty cool in OD green and black. It looks pretty sweet.
I have the older version, the PT111 G2, and I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any physical difference in them, is there?
The new one doesn't have the lock device on it.
Yeah.
Different markings on the slide, and that's pretty much it.
I think it's a different coating on the slide, isn't it?
Yeah.
They might have a different finish. I know they've got different engraving on it too, but yeah.
But yeah, basically it's the exact same frame and everything.
Yeah.
Those are actually running low.
It just boils down to what Night Striker wants to carry. And I'm going to let him make that decision. I'm not going to make it for him. I mean, I wouldn't raise money by anybody a gun and say, okay, you have to buy this one.
But if he's going to get the LC9, he can get the EC9 for $100 cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to say that $229 range there's a few things you can get in there for sure.
But I'm going to let him make his own mind up, but whatever he gets is his budget. Whatever it's over, whatever I have in the account is his budget, so he can work with it.
You're almost in Star BM territory, man.
It would be lighter than a 5-inch 1911.
Mm-hmm.
But similar.
No, Mia says, did he move to a different state? No, he doesn't have a gun that's he's comfortable carrying.
It hasn't drawn his own blood.
That too.
Yeah.
Because he finally got his permit.
Yeah.
He's got what I know that he's got a 1911. He's got that Beretta.
Yeah.
So, and he's wanting something smaller than that. I think barrel length is his issue.
The SD9 VE,
Giggity.
which is going to be about the size of a Glock 19. It's going to be a lot lighter and a little bit shorter than your full size 1911. 2 15-round mags, 15 or 16. Those are what, 250? I think you can get them on sale for.
Well, personally, I went with the M&P. So
yeah, I'm saying if you want to keep it at a $250 price point, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you start looking at some really nice used stuff. If something nice comes into the local shop, a shield or something like that, you can get a shield for the low 200s.
I think he's
good shape.
I'm trying to remember what chat it was on. He's not overly interested in the shields or the Smith & Wessons for whatever reason, and it seems like he's got either a bone to pick with them or something like that.
Picking bones, that sounds like him.
Yeah,
go ahead.
He's a bit fickle, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing. Everybody has their likes and their dislikes. I mean, me, I don't like Glocks. You see, if anybody ever decided to buy me a Glock, buy me 2 of them. I'll have one to shit on, one to cover it up. But that's the only way I need a Glock.
Yeah.
What don't you like about it? I'm just wondering.
I don't like the way they feel in my hand. They have this. Everyone I have shot has got this weird little recoil impulse that I just cannot get used to. It's it's hard to explain. It's just I don't like it. Maybe it's grip, angle grip, grip.
Yeah, I have a small issue. The only thing I have an issue with Glock is, the angle of the grip. I just don't. I don't like it for a carry gun because I can't. I just sort of indifferent, I guess. If I would buy one for a carry gun, I would really only need to shoot that. Or I would want to only shoot that for quite a while to get used to that. Because when my point of aim with a Glock with that grip angle is really wonky. I've shot Glocks and I've shot them well, but if you were in a situation, and like most situations that are protection or self-defense, you're not really even using the sights. You're just pulling up and drawing up and shooting. I'm pretty far off aim with a Glock without practice. So that's why I've kind of shied away from them. Maybe someday, but if I got one, I would definitely have to shoot the shit out of it to really get used to it before I'd want to carry it. The shield was the total opposite. I picked up that's why I brought the shield up. I really like the shield. First time I ever picked one up, at a gun show, I picked up a shield. I found a point on the wall that was, I don't know, maybe 20 feet away. I closed my eyes and pulled the gun up and opened my eyes, and I was dead on. It was just really natural. Like the point of aim was just worked. So that was pretty cool. that made me feel good about, wanting one because it was really easy. Just felt natural. What are we saying out there? To me, yeah, but you don't hate on them all the time. What are we talking about? Glocks? No, I don't. I think Glocks are awesome. They're cool.
They're very utilitarian.
I will say this: I don't hate Glocks. I mean, it's just not a gun I like. Are they reliable? Yes. Are they dependable? Yes. They are the most widely spread law enforcement gun in the world, and more militaries use them than anything else. So that says something about the Glock right there. But for me personally, I just don't care for it.
Yeah. It is what it is. Shoot what you like and like what you shoot, man. Who cares? As long as you shoot it well and you like it, and that's all that matters. Who cares if it's a banged up old high point? If it shoots every time you need it to, then rock on,
No.
Well, honestly,
Never go full high point.
Yeah, you can go full high point if you want to.
Right there.
Not a pistol.
Right there is what he was talking about. His one, that gun right there.
What is it?
That's
Is that the SAR?
CG10.
Yeah, this is the SAR, B6B compact. Got a little over 3-inch barrel. It's perfect for concealed carry. Double action, single action, manual safety. So,
is that imported by EAA?
it used to be. They're not anymore. I don't know who's importing them now.
I think they're independent. I think they're just SARS Malas or whatever it's called.
SAR, yeah, it's SAR USA, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
They are USA.
SAR, I think the SARs are just importing the SAR guns. The B6P somebody else is bringing in.
Yeah, at one point I think EA would have just been the importer, but the Witness and the SARS Malas, they're similar designs based off the CZs. So, but yeah, I think EA was the importer, but I don't think they were necessarily the manufacturer or anything like that. So, yeah.
Now there's nothing wrong with the Witness. Those Witnesses are great damn pistols.
Yeah, they've gone up in price quite a bit, though, unfortunately.
I remember years ago you could pick up a Witness for
$275 or whatever.
$275.
Yeah,
sometimes less than $250. And it was a secret that nobody was talking about, man.
Yeah,
they were great guns and nobody was talking about them. And then all of a sudden somebody figured it out. Hey, man, these are cheap guns, but they work. This thing here eats anything and everything I've ever put through it. I've never had issues with it. Period.
It's like
so they'll fire gummy bears.
I'm being serious. I've had no failure to feeds, no failure to eject. Brass, steel case, it eats it all.
That's a 9 micrometer.
Yep. Yeah, the only thing I would change about this gun, if I could find somebody that made night sights for it, I'd have night sights put on it.
Does any other gun fight? Does any other manufacturer's sights fit it? Jesus,
I really don't know. I really do not.
You should look that up. You should try and look that up
with a file, a Dremel, and enough JB Weld, any sight will fit any sight channel.
Yeah. You could duct tape
it. I had a Witness years ago that. No, it wasn't a Witness. It was the HS2000. I'm sorry, when it first came out, it took the SIG sights. They would work on it. That's right. I never did funny for my Witness. So
it's like my carry, my Bursa takes SIG sights, so I have SIG night sights on mine. It's something you might want to look into. You never know. If they're smart, honestly, that's a lot. That's I think pretty common nowadays too. Is to, if you're going to build something, you can build something, like that, and just, kind of let the cat out of the bag to say, and just, as it were, and people know that they can get aftermarket sights for it. That's kind of nice too.
Well,
and you don't have to worry about
somebody else when they build it. Why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that too.
So have you guys heard that we have 2 years now to get your quote unquote real ID?
No, I haven't heard anything about that.
Well, here in Minnesota, they've been dicking around and pushing back the date with that for 5-10 years. As long as you don't need to do airline travel, it's fine, but it'll be like a rolling change because.
Oh, no, it's not just airline travel, though. You can't get into any federal buildings without that ID.
I don't know.
So if you don't have the real ID, you can't fly. You can't get into any federal buildings, and now they're talking about setting up checkpoints.
We'd like to see your papers, please.
Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine that in America?
Is Arnold or who the fuck played Escape from New York and Escape from L.A.?
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell. Yeah. Or are we going all man in the high tower crazy bullshit here?
I don't know. I do not want to see the day where we can't travel from state to state without being stopped and saying, "Hey, where's your papers?"
Well, wouldn't that be well? If it's a federal thing, then they can fuck with interstate commerce, but each state couldn't do that.
Well, it's supposed to be a federal ID that takes the place of your state-issued driver's license.
Well, I think it's just a set of standards. Like, okay, you have to have this, 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 and this on the ID, implemented however you want to do it. Because,
I kind of think it's the same thing. Like they're talking about different
counterfeiting measures.
Counterfeiting. I was going to say anti-copying, but I knew that wasn't. Yeah, anti-counterfeit measures, like the holographs and all sorts of stuff.
They've already figured out how to get around.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
our driver's license have had not holograms like what used to be on, like, say, a Visa or a MasterCard, but on the just kind of embedded in the plastic. We've had that stuff in our cards since early 90s.
Oh, yeah. And now they've over the last 10 years or so, they're starting to microchip your ID cards. There's microchips in most of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And Skynet will use it to track us down and kill us all.
Yeah, are they going to be using that for voting and stuff? Are they going to try? I mean, I wonder if that's going to go hand in hand with talking about trying to do IDs for voting and stuff.
That's an interesting thought.
I mean, that's kind of what I thought about when you first said it, but then Abe said, he was talking about just instead of a driver's license, but I mean, they've been talking about, IDs for voting for years, which I don't really understand why it's crazy to me to think that if it's not constitutional or whatever to require you show ID when you vote. I don't understand how that's not okay.
How is it racist?
Right. Let's prove you want me to prove who I am before I vote? Okay.
Craziest concept.
Isn't that nuts?
They always qualify it with saying, well, there's so few people that commit voter registration fraud or voter fraud that it wouldn't affect anything. Don't qualify it. Right. What's the downside to identifying yourself on a legal document that you're getting ready to fulfill a constitutional right to vote? What is wrong with identifying yourself and saying you're this person? That's voting. Mm-hmm. What's the downside? There's not.
The downside is that most of the people that don't have IDs are going to vote for one side or the other. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's I'm trying to keep it as PC as possible without, but that's it. That's it. I mean, the people that want to be able to vote without our IDs are the ones that are getting those votes. It's pretty easy, right?
And they're trying to keep people dependent on them.
Right.
They're not trying to be independent. They're trying to keep people dependent to just keep getting these votes every 4 years or every 2 years, depending on what one's coming up. It's just sad.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That's just that whole situation boggled my mind from the first time I heard it. They're like, they want people to show ID to prove who they are when they vote. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, see,
you have to have it.
I don't have a problem with that.
Question for Vanessa here. Vanessa, in some states, you don't have to show a state-issued ID. Just when you register to vote, some places it's, here's my gas bill, here's my electric bill. And it's like, okay. And I killed part of the chat.
And you know what? I think that's a little lax. I really do. I think that when you go in and you want to vote, then you should show your ID. I don't have an issue with that. I don't see why anybody would. That's a legal citizen of this country. You know, it's not being racist. It's not, you know, trying to single out somebody. It's just saying, okay, you have a right.
Didn't they also allow non-citizens to get legal driver's licenses too? Is that a thing, or am I brain damaged?
Well, you're brain damaged, but I don't think it's affecting this particular conversation. I don't know. Zeus in the chat says do the finger dye thing. I don't think it's a thing of. It's not people going in to vote multiple times. It's. I think what we're talking about here is mostly people who are not U.S. citizens voting.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, it'll show that they voted, but I don't know. Is it a felony for a non-U.S. citizen to vote? Is it one of those felonies where they actually like come down on it, or is it like mail fraud where like, oh, yeah, just
I don't know. I've never really heard about it. I would if I would have to guess, I would imagine that it would be one of those things where they're just like, oh, that happened, whatever. I can't see it being a big deal. Just for the same reason that Sarge was saying, like, oh, it doesn't happen very often, so meh, you know. But I mean,
nothing to do with it. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's not how you don't give me a reason. They shouldn't give a reason why this doesn't matter. It matters.
Right. I agree.
Yeah,
I totally agree. Like it's goofy. Well, it's the same thing with sanctuary cities, and it's the same thing with, you know, anything else. Like the whole idea of having a society based on, you know, some rules and whatever, is that when people break those rules, there are consequences, you know. Yes. And you know, it's like, you know, if you don't, then why bother? So I mean, you know,
and here's what I don't understand about these people in these sanctuary cities, the people that open up these cities to these people. Do they not realize that they have already proved themselves to be criminals by crossing the border illegally?
Sure.
Okay, if they're willing to cross the border illegally, okay, that's the first sign that you're dealing with a criminal element right there. Then you're going to invite them into your cities, not knowing what these people have done in the country they're coming from before they got here. You could have rapists, murderers, child molesters, who knows, terrorists coming and living in these sanctuary cities, and nobody there is concerned about this.
They're having a pretty huge problem out in San Francisco with immigrants and the homeless too. With general, it's basically becoming like a health epidemic out there with with waste, people's waste. You know, they're literally. There was an article the other day I saw where there was I wish I could remember who it was. Somebody normally has a really large convention in that city, the CDC or, you know, some health organization, and they moved it. They decided because of what's going on. They put out a statement. They said, you know, they were going to have their convention elsewhere because of the state of the, you know, the citizen, the health, basically health concerns. They're spending tons and tons of money to literally, they're like having to hose down streets, and it's pretty crazy to think about it. And they're just, it's such a liberal place that they're like, you know, this is their right to be homeless if they want to be homeless. And, you know,
yeah,
they're not really doing anything about it.
Did you hear the reports about how much human feces they're sweeping up off the streets every night?
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, they're bringing in. They have to bring in. They're bringing in like tanker trucks with I don't want to say chlorine, but like treated water to disinfectant, in the water to try and to spray everything down to try and keep diseases from becoming rampant. That's how the bubonic plague became a thing, right? You know, like rats,
fleas on rats.
But I mean,
dysentery and what's that other one that's real bad? Cholera, I think is what it is.
Cholera.
Yeah.
So it's just like hepatitis. Vanessa says hepatitis too. Yeah.
Hepatitis, HIV, and there's a lot of it. The contaminated needles that they find laying around on the streets everywhere. They have these wonderful syringe trade-in programs. You know, you take your old syringe, you trade it in, and get a fresh one. Well, here's the problem: you find 4 or 5 of them laying on the street. Well, you take 4 or 5 in, you trade them in. You find 4 or 5 more, you use yours, you throw it down. Somebody else picks it up, uses it. How do you stop that? Other than stop giving out free syringes.
Well, no, that's too extreme and too Third Reich for. Actually, I'm thinking you see, it's the perfect solution to the power problem in California. They just sweep all
giant hamster wheels.
That's a little too close to slavery, or at least at least our HR department told us that when we wanted to implement it to make our get our green points. No, you just sweep up all the manure and all the human feces and that. You put it in a digester, it makes methane. You burn the methane for electricity. We've got hog and turkey farms out here that do the same, or self-sustaining just on shit.
Yeah. Mia said 9mm, and wife says, "Oh my God, I saw that. Was it the Bay Area?" Yeah, it's San Francisco area. Yeah, it's a mess out there, man. I mean, I thought it sucked when they were a sanctuary city. When you heard about that,
that's the thing no one thinks about. That what you're seeing right there. No one thinks about
it. I was talking about this to someone. I mentioned this at work, and nobody believed me until I looked it up. California made it up until recently, a year or so ago, I think. If you had HIV and you knowingly had unprotected sex with somebody, or shared a needle or something like that, it was basically they decriminalized that. They made it like a misdemeanor now, rather than at one point I think they would charge people with aggravated like attempted murder, I think, or something. And
shouldn't that be like a felony?
Right. At one point it was, and I can't remember exactly what it was. Out of it. And now it's a misdemeanor. It's like if you knowingly do that, that's pretty shitty, man. Yeah. That's pretty horrible to decriminalize something like that. I mean, there's such an issue with it accidentally, for Christ's sakes, let alone somebody knowingly doing it and just saying, it's a misdemeanor. That's pretty horrible.
You know what's bad is when you go to McDonald's and there's a Sharps container in the bathroom, because they had to put that in there just so these people wouldn't throw them down and some kid play with it or get stuck with it. They always say drugs are a victimless crime. No, they're not in the least. Yeah. And we've stooped to this level that we have to have these things now. Sharps containers in McDonald's bathrooms and other places, just so people don't get hurt by this habit. It's awful.
Okay, not to change the subject, but on a kind of a similar tangent, how can states pass laws that are a federal offense?
Right. Yeah.
I got Sergeant's thinking face on there. Because if a state says,
where are we going with this?
No, I'm just curious, because if a state says, hey, you park here, you give someone HIV, it's a federal offense, but isn't that how is a state law breaking federal law, which would be a federal offense? Or am I just overthinking this?
Well, I think that's just it's the same as sanctuary cities. It's like, it's a federal offense and they want to deport you, but San Francisco says, no, we're not going to do that. Oh,
Here's the thing about federal law. There's a lot of federal laws that are broken on a daily basis. They just have to set their standards so high. They obviously can't seek out all of them. So that's part of it. They have to be so high. They can.
And it's the same way with drugs too. I mean, quote unquote legalized marijuana. It's not legalized. It's just in a lot of places it's an unenforced.
You can't make it. You still can't possess the amount that would be a federal crime. The state could just not restrict it. Is what it is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're just not restricting it.
And the amount you can have differs from state to state, don't it?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Vanessa out in the chat says it is still a crime to knowingly give someone HIV infection. Yeah, it's a crime, but it's not. It's a misdemeanor now in California.
Like trespassing, basically. It's
right,
or not trespassing. It's trespassing and refusing to leave.
Right.
It's it's still a crime.
And they looked at it as and this is again it goes along with it, and it's like crazy. They did it because with modern medicine and the drugs, your life expectancy is really still quite good. Now that costs a truckload of money, right? So that's where the whole South Park thing. South Park made a joke years ago that money cures AIDS, and it was because if you had enough money, you could get the right drugs and be on the amount that you would need to, to live for a long time.
Look at Magic Johnson.
Right. Yeah. Well, that was the whole thing. Was that Magic Johnson has cured AIDS?
Boys, I'm not sure how I'm beating my AIDS, but I sleep every night on this big pile of money with naked women. Do you think it has anything to do with that?
Yeah. So that's basically the whole mentality that was California's mentality was like, well, just because you have HIV now, you can live with HIV for however long. It's not that bad of a thing. What?
Well, Vanessa, that's as long as Vanessa put out in the chat there, as long as you can afford the drugs, that's
right.
The diagnosis for pretty much any long-term disease.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's fine as long as you can afford this. That'll keep your eyes from bleeding, your anus from exploding, your heart from caving out. Yeah, it's still HIV and AIDS.
Right.
Build the chat.
What does George say? What does George think?
What do you think, George?
Well, his opinion is the only one that matters in here anyways.
I think George is thinking this HIV and AIDS nonsense is just one more way for my species to ascend the food chain and take our rightful place as masters of the earth.
They already are.
I'm hoping so bad that old George is sleeping there and say, "What do you think, George?" And he goes, and that's it. That's right. You tell him, George. No.
So, has George let you eat today, Gary?
Oh, yeah.
Was there enough scraps left in the kiddie bowl, formerly known as the refrigerator? Oh, I said his name, and he looked up at George like, "You've been eating? I did not give you permission to eat. You will pay for this."
So, is there anything else we want to bitch about? Anything else we got to bitch about? California is a good subject, a good topic to bitch about, but I think I might be out of stuff.
I know it's.
Oh, you can always think of more to bitch about when it comes to California.
Yeah, such a shame.
That's really not hard.
Such a shame.
It's one of those things where it's a beautiful place to be, but people are fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Here, and here. The rest of the state's kind of like, eh.
Vanessa says losing access to the drugs can kill you pretty fast. Yeah.
Yeah. Or slow and painfully. Take your pick.
No. I don't know, man. I remember I said something came up and I said something about California, and somebody said something about California. I said, and that popped into my head. I said it at work and they all kind of laughed and looked at me. I'm like, no, true.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see me ever wanting to live in California.
It'll be a really cold day in hell before I ever move to California.
Well, look, if they cut off all that area they were wanting to in the state of Pacifica or whatever the fuck it was, and the rest of the state was red, would you move there?
Probably not.
I don't know. It must be pretty nice out there. Like you
Well,
said,
you know,
if it
they
was in the
got-
red part of it.
Oh, wait, I'm probably thinking wrong. Wine country would probably be in the blue part of the state.
No.
I'm more of a whiskey fan, so I'll
you know, you take the wine, you boil it till oh, wait, that'd be brandy. Yeah, that wouldn't be whiskey.
Yeah.
Same thing. It burns. It gets you drunk. You're good.
Nah, give me whiskey or moonshine. Those places, that's where I want to be.
Well, it's the same thing. It's just that moonshine is like right out of the womb, and whiskey, oh, here, we're going to throw you in a barrel for a minimum of 5 years.
Yeah, Psycho says, born and raised most of my life in California. I'd never move back if I could, even if I could afford it, unless the Democrats get overthrown. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, you'll never be going back.
Mm-hmm.
I'd move to Kansas just to be closer to George. I mean, look at the face.
You just want to move to Kansas so you can use the phrase, Tardut, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore.
You move there for a week and then leave?
Holy crap, it's flat! There's absolutely no topography and corn everywhere.
Not corn, wheat.
Yeah.
Corn is more northern, huh?
Yeah, Nebraska, Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of corn up there. There is some corn here, but
I totally moved to Kentucky.
No, that Kentucky's great. You can find marijuana right on the side of the road there.
I've been to Kentucky a few times, and I have never seen marijuana.
It grows wild, I'm telling you. I've seen it.
It's weed to begin with. All someone has to do is just have a field that they never harvest, and all of us within a year, half the county will be just covered in it.
I must have visited the wrong parts of Kentucky.
Well,
everybody throws their seeds out the window.
No, officer. I wasn't smoking anything.
I was chewing it.
I got these magic brownies from an elf across the road. He said it would reveal my true self and really take care of my neck ache.
From an elf, huh?
It might have been a hobbit. I will admit to have been drinking at the time.
Might have been a hobbit. He's handing me the precious.
Wow. You people are a bad influence. You realize that, right?
Yeah.
We're a bad influence. This was a teetotaling white picket fence social party until you popped in.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway.
And the fact that I was drinking out of the keg has nothing to do with it.
The question is what was in the keg?
Apes down there drinking cans that are like the size of
just meant you didn't ever
5-gallon buckets.
There, that's the can I'm drinking out of. Here's a pop can. Here's my keg.
Don't say pop. Pop's weird. I don't like that. I don't like that word.
Here's my soda pop, mister.
Soda.
Sody pop.
Damn it.
It's Coke.
That was.
By the way, did any of y'all see the post I made to Instagram tonight?
No.
You got the tin foil and the wire string all reconnected?
No, my dinner tonight was some hot dogs, right? The perfect
hot dog sandwich?
That was not a sandwich, damn it. Hot dogs were not a sandwich, but...
So you had a hot dog sandwich?
I had a hot dog. And on that hot dog, there was chili. And on top of that chili, there was cheese. And on top of that cheese was coleslaw. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you dress a hot dog. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Maybe not the chili and coleslaw. The chili and cheese and coleslaw.
I got no problem with that. Chili and cheese, yes.
You throw the coleslaw? No.
Yes.
No, coleslaw on the side or coleslaw on the dog. I'd be even willing to try chili and coleslaw, but I don't know.
Try
horseradish into your coleslaw.
If you try it, I will guarantee you'll love it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and Jonases, you heard it here. If you have your coleslaw hot dog chili sandwich and you don't like it, you can go down to Outlaw's Diner and punch him in the face.
Or the throat.
And then right after that, you can go find the ape and kick him in the nuts.
Sorry, he's got a pass from me, so I can't hit him.
Hey, I make no guarantees to the enjoyment of the aforementioned hot dog sandwich.
It will. Have you ever? If you will go on Google and look up Slawline, SLAWLINE, you will find that in the state of West Virginia, there is actually a road sign that says Slawline, and on one side of that line, people eat coleslaw on hot dogs. On the other side, they don't.
On the other side, they eat lead paint chips.
On the other side, they eat sauerkraut.
God, I hope not, 'cause that shit's nasty.
It's the same, baby. It's cabbage. It's just prepared differently. One is pickled in vinegar and left in the backyard for a month. The other is mixed together with Miracle Whip and horseradish.
Horseradish? What the hell kind of coleslaw are you making?
The fucking best kind ever. You mix in a little horseradish, just a little bit to taste. It really makes everything else pop.
Huh.
Travis, you need to teach him how to make some coleslaw, bro.
No, I'm okay with it. I'm okay.
Hold it now. If you're going to make a Reuben with the cabbage, you can make a slaw Reuben.
No, that's a Rachel.
Rachel's with turkey.
Yeah, but you use slaw.
The only ones I've had have been sauerkraut.
That's stupid. That's dumb.
You're stupid. You're dumb.
No.
I do not like kraut at all. I cannot stand.
Well, kraut don't like you neither, so don't be so angry about it.
I ain't angry.
Sauerkraut is delicious.
I can picture him walking down the road right now, like he's a little kid, little dirt road, kicking a can. Oh, Blake it.
What happened was he was kicking his little can down the dirt road. Some guy in a gray work shirt and jumpsuit came by and threw coleslaw on his face, and he's been traumatized by it, or sauerkraut, and he's been traumatized by it ever since. And actually,
my mom used to make corned beef and cabbage.
Ooh.
And I hated it.
Cabbage can be pretty rough if you don't do anything with it. Like,
she would make kraut and wings, maybe.
Be like a discount, like a trailer park version of sauerkraut and like hot dogs and spaghetti. Actually, seeing this up on the chat here and thinking about it, Vanessa Kelly said chili and coleslaw. Actually, that sounds like a good way for a colon cleaning.
I remember coming home from school, and I can always tell when Mom had been cooking kraut. You can smell this shit, 100 yards from the house. It's like nasty as hell, man.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is how the outlaw Hatfield learned distances. If he could smell the coleslaw, it was at least 100 yards.
No, I said kraut. You don't cook coleslaw, as far as I know.
I'm out of here, guys. I gotta go clock into work. You guys have a great night. Thanks for having me.
Hey, good luck, man. Good luck.
Yep.
Phoenix says, nothing clears a room like sauerkraut farts. You, sir, need to go get yourself a very dark beer and then come back and talk to us.
Yeah, I mean, I actually heard people screaming one time, and it turned out that it was Ape from all the way across the country. He was drinking dark beer, and then he was eating some deviled eggs with sauerkraut on top. So he just lit the place up.
No. I have a little sauerkraut on my hot dog sandwich. What I had on the deviled egg was a little smoked paprika and a little cayenne pepper.
There you go. That's the only way to have a deviled egg is paprika.
No, not regular paprika. Get the smoked paprika.
Smoked Hungarian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jorge. I always say Jorge because it's spelled like that, but George, whatever, whoever the hell that is out there.
Whatever the fuck your name is.
Yeah, you with the J's and the consonants.
Hey, you know who you are.
I mean, that's a J, but it's said huh like an H. That's dumb. It
And like
should be
jalapeno.
It should be HORGE. No, it shouldn't. It should be HORHE. Jorge. No, it shouldn't.
It should be WHORE.
It should be HORHA. Jorge. There you go. So he said,
Wouldn't that be Jorge?
Oh, you put a little one of the little long things.
Is that the Skinamax version of Yeehaw?
Yeah, something like that. Jorge. He said, "What would the ultimate grilled cheese sandwich be?"
With bacon on it.
Oh God, you would have American, cheddar, and Swiss on it.
No.
I would go with the smoked jalapeno or smoked pepper jack, bacon bits, because that way you get the bacon instead of ending up with, if the bacon's not quite right, just pulling out a strip of bacon and then you're just left with cheese. Little smoked paprika, and just because we don't have enough things to kill me in this sandwich, I would say a little barbecue sauce to dip it in.
One of the most wonderful cheeses I've ever had in my life. It's a company that they sell a lot of flavored stuff. It's called Yancey's with a Y, Yancey.
Hey, we get that.
Do you?
Okay. Like from Futurama.
No, I don't know. So take a look around. If you have it down there, Ellis, take a look around and see if you can get their smoked Gouda with bacon. That shit is the real deal. Okay, it's actually what it is. It's a smoked Gouda and then it's got chopped up bacon in it. That stuff on a burger or something like that is killer. But in a grilled cheese, it would be crazy good. So yeah, you do something like that. I like a Texas grilled cheese too. I like a tomato in it. I'm not a huge fan of like a super thick tomato, but if you actually and I've done this for lunch specials and stuff at work. We'll do a Texas grilled cheese with spinach, and that's really good.
That's good.
Grilled cheese, nice and crunchy. And we'll usually do like cheddar and American inside, a couple strips of bacon, some baby spinach, and then we'll take some nice fresh ripe tomato, salt and pepper, and grill it on a real hot char grill, just to give it some grill marks, and throw that inside. That's a really, really good sandwich.
Okay, Sarge, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
All right, Sarge.
Good night, Sarge.
Good night.
I'll see you, Sarge. Thanks for coming, man. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it as always, and I will. I'll see you guys in a little bit.
Oh,
yep.
Quick,
See you, buddy.
Sarge, I sent you the email with the information for Bullet Tea Justice.
He is. This is not him. He's already boxed up in his noodle, ready to go to his new home. This is his replacement.
They cloned him.
So he's been cloned. He is on the. He'll be leaving out in the morning.
All right.
See you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, remember, me and Sarge tomorrow night, get that interview. Don't forget.
What time?
11 p.m. Eastern.
I'll be there.
I'll be trolling.
See you guys.
I do have a question for you, Midnight. Work concerning, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you get your catfish?
I mean, we
I know that's a weird question, but
well, I mean, I just when I have done it in the past, it's just been through my seafood company. I don't know where it comes from. It's always a farm raised.
Well, the reason I'm asking because we're paying like $5 and $6 a pound for catfish.
And it's been quite a while since I've ordered it. I mean, I haven't ordered it for a couple of years, and I want to say that doesn't sound. I mean, it's going to be a little bit more expensive now than what I was paying. It doesn't sound like it's all that crazy. But
considering a month and a half ago, they were getting the same stuff for like $4.50. So
no, that's weird that it's such a big jump in such amount. Yeah, especially if it's farm raised, because you don't really have to worry about seasons. You know, it's not like if you're getting it farm raised somewhere down by you, you're going to not be able to harvest it year round. I'm sure they are. Something you have to watch out too is most times when you order fillets of fish like that, excuse me, you're going to order a size, a count, or how big they are. So, you might be able to get like I know when I was ordering them last time, I could get what were they? They were 5 to 7 ounce, or you would go 8 to 10 ounce, I think. And 10 ounce is that's pretty big. If you're gonna bread it and make a sandwich or something, 5 ounces is plenty big. So that might be something they might need to look into is, are they getting bigger ones or smaller ones? And that can affect the cost per pound too. With shrimp, it does. If you order, a 16-20 shrimp, which is 16 or 20 per pound, versus a 13-15, which is 13 or 15 per pound, they're a little bit bigger. The price per pound varies. So not only are they bigger, but they cost more per weight. So, if you get 5 to 7s, it might be one cost versus the bigger ones might be another cost. So depending on what they're using them for. And like I said, like a 5 to 7 ounce fillet, especially if you're going to bread it, that's a good size fillet.
Well, they normally prepare it one of two ways. They either deep fry it or they broil it.
Yeah.
If they broil it, they don't bread it. If they deep fry it, right, they do. So, and he's just looking for other options, trying to figure out you can get the catfish back without paying that kind of a ridiculous price.
Yeah, I mean, it's all relative though, because a few years back I was paying $6 a pound for salmon, and freaking salmon's like $8.50 a pound right now. So it's just, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
But that's a farm raised product, so it shouldn't take big jumps like that. That's kind of weird.
I don't know. Well, he's offset it by buying more tilapia. So he's selling that instead.
Tilapia is pretty cheap. People like it too because it's a generic white fish, especially now that it's farm raised, and same with the catfish. It's farm raised. It's cleaner. It's a nice white or pinkish flesh, to the fish. Years ago, tilapia was the farm raised things with farm raised, really depend on how advanced the facility is and what kind of filtering they do. How often is how good is the filter to draw all the stuff, the not contaminants, but the dirt and everything else out of the water. However, the cleaner the water, the cleaner the fish. So it's tough. A lot of times, if you get from a place that's not very advanced with their cleaning techniques, you get a flesh of the fish that's kind of off color, and it's not as clean a taste. But I mean, I don't know. Catfish and tilapia are both pretty inexpensive. The thing is, down by in the South, people are so used to catching it themselves too, that when they see a price tag like that, they probably get sticker shock a little bit too. Like, well, I'm paying $5 for this. I can go out and catch it myself. Well, go ahead.
True, but how long does it take you to catch it? And is your time worth more than $5 an hour, $5 for 3 hours, or however long it takes you to get one?
Yep. And that's the thing with, that's one of the things about restaurants is, there's some things are they might not cost a whole lot, but there's time put into it. You know what I mean? So that ups the value a lot too. Hottie's saying salmon's basically free here for me since he just got back from Vancouver Island and Vancouver, and brought many. Yeah, salmon. Well, that's what we were.
We were talking about
buddy. We were talking about that earlier as far as freezing too. Salmon freezes fantastic, and if you throw if you break down that salmon into portions, throw a little marinade on it and vacuum seal it, throw it in a freezer. Awesome. Turns out
that's what we do
really well.
They buy the salmon, then they slice it up, temper in I guess 4 or 5 inch cubes, then seal it up, freeze it.
Yeah, I try not to freeze anything I don't have to, but we were talking about this earlier. Every once in a while, if we catch Christmas time and we're off for 2 days in a row, or 3 days in a row, depending on how the holiday falls. I don't want seafood sitting in my cooler for 3 days just looking to go bad. So you got to do what you got to do.
Bless you.
Bless you, George.
Where?
Sorry about that. I thought it was muted. Damn
it. Somebody's looking tired over there.
And forgetting that he's on mute. So since he's muted, we'll take over the chat. Just a show of hands out or on the panel here. We got people going back and forth on Snicker salad. Who's here have it and who here likes it or what they think of it? Outlaws.
What the hell is a
what is it? I've never heard of it.
All right, hold on. Snicker salad is basically you take Cool Whip, a package of vanilla pudding, you mix that together, then you dice up your apples, then you dice up Snicker bars, you just mix that all together. So it's apples, like Cool Whip, pudding, and Snickers.
Take away the apples, I'd eat it.
Jesus Christ.
You are un-American. That sounds like communism right there, I tell you what.
I agree with her.
Apples.
Maybe,
there's health in my junk food.
No. Substitute apples.
That reminds me.
Don't judge me. There's chocolate, there's Cool Whip.
There's pudding.
And pudding. I don't need no dang apples in my sweet stuff.
Substitute the apples for maybe a banana.
I could handle that. Yeah.
He said the B word.
Or some vanilla wafers. I could even handle that.
BSMD. And I flustered him again.
Not hardly.
Nursing home. There it was. Hottie said he had a few pounds of fillets and more on the way for smoking. That's good stuff, man. Yeah, Zeus says you don't have to eat. You can just eat around the apples. See, this is the kind of parenting that's going to get her in trouble because one of these days, their kid's going to be eating a pile of Snickers bars for lunch or something. That's it.
Okay, so speaking of my kids eating a whole bunch of junk food. Clover and I think it was Ghost was talking about getting the kids all sugared up and then sending them home. Well, my dad went to Walmart and bought the huge bag of M&Ms. And
like the 10-pound sack that just say M and M in blue lettering on them.
Fuck yeah! It's like the huge fucking bag at Walmart.
Now, hold on. You're saying M&Ms. Now I know you say Coke is a generic, but were they regular M&Ms? Were they peanut M&Ms? Peanut butter? Almond M&Ms?
They were just the regular M&Ms. Just chocolate.
The good ones.
Yeah. You get more in the freaking bag. And my kids are watching a movie, and I go in there, and the bag is empty. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Y'all didn't have a whole bag. And my dad was like, what do you mean a whole bag? And I was like, that bag is empty. And he's like, I just gave it to him 15 minutes ago. Instead of putting them in like Ziploc bags or even putting it in a bowl.
Dixie cup.
Yeah, he gave him the freaking bag. No.
Just like, I don't care. I'm going to be gone after here. And besides, boy, here's my little buddy.
You see your kids
okay.
you can see your kid now sitting on the couch like a wood chipper, like a wood chipper, just shoving M&Ms in his face.
My daughter's face was so full of chocolate. She had it up on her nose. She had it under her eye. I was like, "How did you get chocolate?"
In M&Ms, they're the candy that melt in your mouth, not on your face.
Yeah, but then she goes and stuffs like a whole handful in her mouth, and chocolate starts melting, and she wipes her face, and then with her hand, and then she gets it on her hand, and then she goes and wipes it everywhere else. It was
Gunpowder, what you need to do is just take a picture of it and hold on to that until like her first date or so and say, do you really want to date this? She has a very addictive personality. She will never leave you alone. Is that chocolate? We're hoping so.
Yeah, my little guy's kind of hooked on Nutella right now.
Oh, gosh. I can't keep that in the house. Like, the kids will eat the hell out of it.
We'll eat the hell out of Nutella.
Put it on their fruit. I mean, they want it on everything.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. This is expensive. They actually have the store brand of it. Next time I have to buy it, I think I might buy the store brand. See how that is versus the actual name brand Nutella.
Oh, you do that at midnight, you'll be sound asleep. Next thing you'll know, you'll wake up. Little man will be standing on your chest over you with the jar. What the hell is this shit? Bam! You do not buy this.
Turn into Stewie from Family Guy all of a sudden. What the deuce?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, it's the mind control stuff. It's just like in Logan.
Honey, Psycho says honey wheat bread with Nutella and peanut butter is awesome. Yeah, Nutella and peanut butter is good stuff.
It is.
We do a dipping sauce with it for donuts. These little sort of more like beignets or something, but
now are there sprinkles on those donuts?
No, they're tossed in a 5-spice sugar, Chinese 5-spice sugar.
Why?
They good.
No, I was talking about the sprinkles. Just trying to drag up, callbacks to 2 or 3 years worth of ranting from other well-known GunGentle.com members.
Well, that's where the whole Gun Show Loophole Tour donut patches came from. That's why I ordered one of those the other day, for old time's sake. And I was like, man, I know that. I gotta make sure I remember that. But we do a Nutella vanilla sauce, like a custard, with a creme anglaise. It's a custard sauce with vanilla, and just while it's still warm, just whisk in Nutella. That's slamming. That's really good. Chocolate covered cinnamon bears. The hell is that?
Who or what is a cinnamon bear? Is that like?
I think or is he talking about the little cinnamon cookies, like the bear cookies?
Do they still make those things?
Teddy Grahams.
Teddy Grahams.
I was thinking of the what the hell were they? They were like a bear shaped, kind of like what the hell are those things? They're like wrapped around and they have like a chocolate center. It's kind of like those.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it was like a thin, kind of cookie-like substance with a chocolate-like substance injected in the middle of them.
Oh, yeah. I buy stuff like that at the Asian market. They have all sorts of stuff like that.
Like Dunkaroos or something?
That might have been that. It was like the mid to late 90s or whatever they were.
Almost like an animal cookie stuffed with a chocolate icing, sort of, kind of.
Yeah, but it wasn't like a sandwich where it was cookie filling sandwich. It was like the cookie encapsulated it, more or less.
Oh, I don't know. I think Dunkaroos, you dipped it into the icing stuff.
Yeah, that's different. Phoenix is saying deep fried Reese's cups. I just
can't get into warm peanut butter.
No.
As much as I want to like fried candy bars, I just can't love them.
Psycho says cinnamon bears equal cinnamon flavored gummy candy.
Oh, so like gummy bears with cinnamon flavor. Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, so you're gonna chocolate cover that? Yeah, that's odd. That's different.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe like a dark chocolate or
candy.
something.
I might have to go. My little man's waking up hearing all the candy
He
talk.
feels a disturbance in the force.
Yeah.
Mama, where the M&M's at?
Right. Damn it.
Phoenix
He's got a chocolate milk in one hand and fistful of Reese's Pieces in the other.
Milk. He's got the whole damn 5-pound can of Hershey's syrup in one hand and a straw.
There you go.
Nesquik or whatever it is in the other hand.
Milk is an option.
Pretty
milk
much.
is simply, it's just water. He doesn't need that milk stuff. I just want the liquid chocolate.
That's right.
Yeah, like a larger, harder gummy bear. That's mildly disturbing.
There was one day he had a cup, and it was like mostly the chocolate Hershey sauce, and then he had got into my Godiva like ice cream sauce, and he found the chocolate sprinkles, and he had just mixed it all up into a cup, and I was like, "What is that?" Because he had a spoon and he was eating it.
Energy.
Like, what is that? And he's like, "I made delicious stuff." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "It's delicious. Do you want some?" And I was like, "Well, what is it?" And he's like, "It's chocolate. It'll make you feel better." And so I was like, "Okay." And so I got closer, and it's just a whole bunch of chocolate sauce with the whole container of chocolate sprinkles. I was like, "Oh my gosh. Hey, you want to go stay the night at Nan and Papa's house?"
Yeah, it's just like cereal. The sprinkles are just like cereal.
Yeah, sure.
Need a little fiber to help move the sugar through my system.
But thank you for the invite. I am going to have to go because he's staring at me like, I hear sweet talk. Where's the junk food?
He's like, I can hear the internet, Mom.
Master Kitty out in the chat says there's a giant gummy bear that has a bowl for a tummy. You can fill it with an alcohol drink. Well, now alcohol, gummy bears, and chocolate. You know, you might as well just run out into the middle of the road. It's not going to get any better than that.
I had a shot one time that was they called it a white gummy bear. And it tasted just like a white gummy bear. It was crazy. It's really people that are good with mixing alcohol is really cool. They can do some really neat stuff.
The trick is not
you jealous. Are you jealous?
What, mixing flavors?
Yeah, they can do better with alcohol than you can with food.
Well, yeah, man. You give me a fryer and some potatoes. Look out.
Well,
I used to be a bartender. You cook me some really awesome food, and I'll make you some really awesome drinks.
I don't need awesome drinks. I'm tired already. I don't need to go to sleep.
Well, not right now. I mean, you show up at her house at what? It's 1:30 Central Time. It'd take you
2:20 here.
What? 12 hours to go from PA to Texas, maybe?
No, I don't know.
You show up at her door, she's just gonna throat punch you. You're gonna wake up and she's gonna be, "Hey, sunshine, you gonna make me that supper now? I'll make you a drink."
Sunshine, lollipops, and dreamboats.
Wake
You'll get up and all of a sudden you'll figure out, "Oh, I'm chained to the stove."
6 o'clock in the morning, your ass came. Now you're cooking.
Wait for Tart out to go to work. Hey, let's go, buddy. We're going to the pawn shop. Come on, old buddy, old pal. Let's go.
Oh my gosh.
I'll take you to the pawn shop one day after a week or so. "Hey, let's go to the pawn shop, buddy." "Oh, okay." We'll drive out into the desert. This isn't the pawn shop. I hear you've been cooking with my wife.
Wife again. I don't know what you're talking about. Talk to the mailman.
Talk to the milkman. Oh, shit. Those haven't been around in 100 years.
Yes. Nobody's seen a milkman since 1946.
That's why the birth rate has been steadily declining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He just ain't been making the rounds like he used to.
Tired, worn out.
And the mailman.
I'm old. I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to find one gal and just be done with it all. Oh, wait, that was Quagmire. Never mind.
The milkman just don't have enough time on his hands anymore. Or the mailman.
It would be really funny. You know how the Vlasic pickle mascot is a stork?
Stork.
It would be super funny if like a milk company had a stork as a mascot. I wonder if anybody does. I would. I mean, if I owned a milk company, I would totally make a stork my freaking mascot.
Sir,
awesome.
Sir, I can fully attest that none of our employees would be the father of your son. What? Well, just because we're the stork milk company doesn't mean we deliver babies as well.
Lies! All lies, I tell you.
Now, true. I only tell lies. I never ever tell the truth.
That's
Y'all have
brilliant
a good night.
marketing. That's what that is. It's brilliant marketing.
Okay, guys, I'm out of here.
All right, I'll see you, buddy. Yeah, we're going to shut it down here.
Y'all, thanks for the link, Midnight.
Yeah, always, buddy.
It's been fun.
I'll see you when I see you.
And I said I'm going to leave and scared poor Gunpowder out hard.
You know what? The kid probably hit her with a chair to get a hold of the Snickers bar that was in her pocket or something.
Where's the Godiva sauce?
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, I will see y'all tomorrow. Catch my show. Like I said, I'm doing that interview with Sarge. At the beginning of the show, I've got my little cousin, 9 years old, that I've never talked to, who just happened to find my channel on YouTube. And his dad contacted me and says, my kid found your channel. And he wants to come on your show. So tomorrow I'm having him on the show at the beginning. So,
and now that kid is
those late night chats of yours.
Yeah,
we're going to tone it down for the first few minutes while he's on there.
I was just going to say, my cousin found my show, and his dad called me to threaten me.
The kid's 9 years old, and he thinks I'm some kind of celebrity.
What do they mean by sheep fucker?
Daddy, was his beard always gray, or is that the wool from the sheep? I actually just noticed in your Instagram post, because usually Outlaw's it's kind of in the shadows every time he turns the camera on in his trailer, that his beard is actually gray, or has gray in it.
Yeah, he's like Batman. He just hides in the shadows.
Actually, I am the night. I am vengeance. I am not the one who strikes at night, but he's very close relation to me. And in fact, he's under my bed right now.
Hey, how you doing down there, buddy?
Speaking of the beard, it's going to be disappearing tomorrow.
Ah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to trim it down a little bit.
Yeah.
See how that goes. So,
that's what I did. I trimmed mine down a little bit.
Anyway, guys, again, thanks. Y'all have a good night. I will talk to y'all tomorrow.
Let's see.
Gizzard, you got anything going on? You want to plug?
Oh, not a whole heck of a lot. Check out my channel. Check out my website, gizzardgary.com. I'm also on Gunstreamer and YouTube and Vimeo and wherever else you can put videos. I've probably got videos out there. I don't know if they're any good, but they're out there. So.
Yeah, I just ported everything over to Gunstreamer myself.
Oh, did you?
A couple nights ago. Yeah, my catalog's over there. They're super nice guys, man. They had that. Man, that shit was quick. I was talking to the one dude in the chat at Paul Wood, and I was like, "Well, what do I have to do to, get everything ported over?" I just opened up an account like the night before, and he said, "Oh, well, email me," and I emailed him. I just emailed him. I said, "Hey, if this is my channel name. What do I have to do to get everything ported over, all at once, just to get it all over there and done with, And like 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, he sent me an email back and said, "Oh, thanks. It's done." I mean, it was like that.
So
and I don't know how it was kind of weird to know that they could do that without anything from me, like a password or anything, you know. That's a little bit weird. That somebody could just go in and swipe your whole catalog and do whatever the hell they want with it, you know, but you know, I don't know. It's how it is nowadays, I guess, you know, it's open for the public to do whatever they want with, you know.
Yeah.
But it was kind of weird. But I emailed back and forth a couple times. Seemed like a really nice guy. He said, "Oh, we're excited to have you over. You know, we're so glad you and talking about us as a group. They said, we're so glad you guys are all, you know, bringing your stuff over here. We're glad to have you. If you ever need anything, let us know." Or, you know, so it seemed like a pretty good group of guys. You know, they didn't just seem like it wasn't like a form letter. You know, it wasn't like, you know, okay, yours, you know, like a automated thing where your videos have been ported over. Thank you very much, you know, or something. So that was pretty cool. It's nice to know, you know.
Well, I think they're doing it right so far. We'll see if they can keep it up, but yeah.
Yeah. The one thing that it's a little bit wishy-washy, I think, is I'm interested to see what happens with copyright stuff, because they said in the chat that they were like, oh, we kind of let it up to the creators to, you know, police themselves or whatever. I think that's what they said, something like that. That might have been another chat. I think that was them. That could have been on Hank's. But at the same time, you know, most of us, I think, are pretty good about that. But how long is it going to be till people are up there just posting whatever they want, whenever they want, you know, other music or movies or whatever it would be. And, you know, then they have to drop the hammer. So we'll see.
Let me post a couple of cooking videos. I think I know where I can get some.
Yeah. I'll take you down, man.
True, but you need to remember that Gary is only the mini boss. George is the final baddie.
Oh, that's true.
Down Gary, George is just going to come up and just smack you right across the face, pick you up by the neck, and go have lunch.
It's like Thunderdome. They're like Master Blaster.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
I am Master. He is Blaster. So, if you don't have anything else, we will go to So, I've got one video up on GunTube. I gotta get some more stuff up there, but I've got one video up on GunTube just to get a video up there, an account set up, just so Night Strike didn't change his mind and not let me on there, or use my name so I couldn't use it. You know, and I have to change my name at Smartass. He would do something like that too. Be like, oh, it's just not available. I don't know. Somebody else got it.
So you change your name from Midnight Range Trademark to Midnight Range Registered Trademark.
That's right. That's right. I do have, you know, I have one up there. I got to get more up there. And then, like I said, Gunstreamer has the whole 9 yards. So I just gotta, you know, keep up with that. So thanks for coming. I appreciate it. I think we had a pretty good chat tonight, man. It was, I think, a lot of stuff got talked about for sure. I hope it was entertaining for everybody. Still got 14 people watching, which is cool. Philo says, oh, I just made it back. Are you wrapping it up? Yep, but that's not how you spell wrapping. I was not rapping. We're rapping with a W. We're going to close it up. I mean, if Gizzard or Ape or George wants to do some hip hop, they can do that. If not, then
you all know Apes can't dance.
And on that note, go ahead, Ape.
So I make the offensive comment, and then all of a sudden it's okay. Be quiet, dance, monkey, dance.
And on
ladies, gentlemen, and Jonas of all ages. Now, you want me to do the outro, or you never mind. Ladies, gentlemen, and Jonases of all ages, thank you for watching Midnight Range TM's The Closer. Be sure to check out gunchannels.com for more Pro 2A content. This concludes our regularly scheduled programming, but we'll be back at 9:30 a.m. Eastern with the early watch, followed by open lobbies throughout the day. Also, keep an ear out for Black Cat Outdoors lunchtime and litterbox chats. Our Monday night programming, so pay attention, Mia, because I'm only going to read this once. At 8 p.m. Eastern, it's Clover Tax MOA Monday and Hawaii Volcano Squads Locked and Loaded. 9 p.m. Eastern, it's Never Enough Ammos, a.k.a. Mr. Matt's Guns and Geeks podcast, The Week in Geek. 11 p.m. Eastern, it's the Outlaw Hatfield's Monday Night Shootout. And every weeknight at midnight Eastern, the original show, The Daily Gun Show. Remember to look out for Ellis the Degenerates, a.k.a. Outlaw Hatfield's Late Night with the Outlaw. Also, check out guntube.org as a free and unrestricted Pro2A video platform. If you like what you see over there, go to Patreon and help them pay the bills. Check out 247gunshow.com. It's free to sell for Gun Channel's members, and anyone can buy as long as you have money. And remember, a hot dog is a sandwich. Keep your guns oiled and the chambers loaded.
That's correct. So, thanks. Check out check out gun websites. Check out G-Webs. I'm not sure how many he's going to produce or how many he's planning on it or if he's going to do it at all, to tell you the truth. The Bacon Pancakes patch. So the way that came about, I wanted to talk about this too. So, he does the Adventure Time Bacon Pancakes, song for Daily Gun Show a lot. Well, he opened up a chat the other day and wanted to do, he was going to do a bacon pancake. And I flipped on the chat just to see what was going on. And he was surfing the internet for a picture of bacon pancakes to use. And, I jumped in, I texted in the chat. I said, gee, I got a video that I did bacon pancakes of. I can send you the thumbnail. So that's how it came to be. So I sent him the thumbnail. He turned it into an image and then made the patch. So it's not necessarily, wasn't supposed to be a patch for my channel or anything, but it kind of turned out to be that way. So, he's sending me the prototype, which is cool. So obviously I'm not getting any part of it, but if he does produce them, or maybe you can bug him to produce some, I think that'd be kind of a fun patch for people to have. So it'll help G out too. So that's pretty cool. So I definitely wanted to say that. Ask for your bacon pancakes patch, So other than that, check out Gunstreamer. But I got Patreon out there if you want to help out with Patreon. It's always nice. I do put some fun stuff up on Patreon. Patreon tends to get some behind the scenes stuff. Every once in a while I'll post stuff from work, some fun specials or things that we're doing. When we do menu items or menu research, we're testing out new stuff for the menu. That's what I'm trying to say. So you can see some fun stuff over there. But other than that, thanks for coming. I hope you guys had a great time. Thanks for, Giz and Ape. And I should thank those guys because Giz and Ape have been on damn near every show I've ever done. We're up to like number 38 now. Ape's the best, hype man in the business. And Gizzard's always there when I need something taken care of. He's always on it. So I should thank those guys for sure. They've always been here for me. So I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for coming. Bye.
Give him the bird.
Not.
I need a good catchphrase.
And that's the way the peanut butter crumbles.
Fail sauce.